Hey, folks. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another edition of the Finance Rebel Show. And obviously, today is Wednesday, and every Wednesday we do Wealthy Wednesdays. So on Wealthy Wednesdays, we do live Q&A, live money Q&As. And, this is a section where everybody can come in and ask their money questions, whether it's stock, taxes, insurance, business. I've been in business for over 20 years, or I've been in financial services for over 20 years. So I've seen a lot of things, so I'll come here every Wednesday to share them all with you. So what you got? Let me know. I got a couple answers, a couple questions already in queue. People want to know about the stock splits, the Apple stock split that just occurred over last week. I know I had a couple other pins. Guys, an investor, how are you? Matt Mellon, how are you? Welcome. Cherie Banks, how are you? So I was just on talking about verses a little bit. I was playing a little bit of Brandy in the background, but I had to turn that off because I don't want no trademark smoke. These platforms be bugging about trademarks. And you would think that some of the trademark rules would be updated for the digital era. Because when you play 30 seconds of a song, you're not looking to make money off that song. Actually, playing the song actually helps the artist. But, the law is always the last to catch up and modernize. So I guess I just got to stay out of the way because I don't want any problems. All right, so let's jump into these problems. Do me a favor before y'all really get into it like that. Do me a favor, share this out. I actually forgot to share this out. I'm the worst. Everybody always tells me I need to do more self-promotion, but I can't even remember to share my own stuff out. I don't know if that's good or bad, but listen, I'm just here for the people. I'm just trying to feed the soil. That's about it. Give me 2 seconds and let me figure out how to share this out to a couple of places. Won't take me long as I don't have any problems finding the feed. So like I said, we got a question about Apple stock splits. Do me a favor, put your questions in the chat. I see some of our people are still filling in. Brother Don Johnson's on. Hey Don, man, I want to say I really appreciate you. I swear you watch every Blackwell project. You're there supporting, giving ideas. Again, that idea was super duper dope. About the Black business icons. We're definitely adding that to the show. Definitely appreciate you for that. And you're here usually on Wednesdays too. So definitely appreciate you as well. Got Miss Edith broadcasting live on Facebook as well. So she's on Facebook and Instagram. So I appreciate you, Miss Edith. Oh, and she started a watch party for me. Definitely appreciate you for doing that. Well, doesn't look like I'll be able to share it. For some reason, maybe I can do it this way. For some reason, if I don't share it in the beginning, it gets really quirky. And I don't know what that's about. It's like a new change. Everybody's, changing the algorithm super duper fast. But if you could share it out and then tag me on Facebook. So, all right, so let's jump into these questions as we go along. Feel free to add any questions you might have. Kaizen Investor says she's got her notepad and pen ready. I appreciate that. Cherie Banks says Tesla dropped to 407 today. Did you know I am really not a big Tesla fan? Tesla is like one big church for everybody to say all praise Elon Musk. You would think he's the recoming of Black Jesus, but he ain't. But that's a whole other thing. So, but yeah, people love Elon Musk. Tesla is still not firmly profitable. I still don't understand why Tesla continues to run. Well, I do. We love celebrity power. We love to worship celebrities. And that's no diss to anybody who's an Elon Musk fan. I'm just saying he's very smart, but I'm just saying the stock price on Tesla is through the roof. And again, Tesla's been around for over 10 years and they are still not profitable. Remember that when you're buying stock, like Warren Buffett says, when you're buying stock, and remember, I usually only talk about long-term investing, but when you're buying a stock, you're buying a piece of a company, right? If the company's not doing good, that stock probably isn't going to do good for super duper long. So since the stock isn't going to do good for super duper long, it usually isn't a good stock. Tesla is the exception, right? I'll tell you this though, I would not bet against Tesla. I won't short Tesla. I won't bet against Tesla at all. All right, so let's go back to the question that we got from where'd it go? Okay, Tattered D. Can you explain exactly what it means when a stock splits, referring to the recent Apple stock? All right, so if everybody missed this, the whole world knew about it. But if everybody missed this or anybody missed this, Apple split. They did a 4-for-1 split. Also, Tesla split. They did a 5-for-1 split. What does that mean? All right, so it means simply if you have one share of Apple, let's stick with Apple because you mentioned Apple. If you have one share of Apple, you now have 4 shares of Apples or 4 shares of Apple stock. Right? I'm thinking about food. I'm thinking about fruit right now. So you had that one share and then Apple gave you 3 more shares to total it out to 4. So that is a 4-for-1 split. What does it mean? It doesn't mean much of anything. All right. So let's say you had one share of Apple stock worth $400. I think, well, let me change that. Let's say you had one share of Apple stock at say $500 because that's closer to the point where it's split. All right. So that one share of $500 will now be divided by 4. The price will be divided by 4. And then you will get somewhere around $125. So each share will then be roughly $125 a share. And that's what happened. But it doesn't change the amount of your investment. That $500 is still worth $500 instead of it just being $500 within one share. It is $500 across 4 shares, right? So 125 times 4 is 500. The reason for a split, it's really window dressing to make the company a bit more appealing to retail investors. But institutional investors truly drive the market, but retail helps to drive the market at times as well. All right. So, a lot of people had questions about it. A lot of people were concerned about it. I haven't said much. I dropped a meme today, but my meme got flagged. I had a copyright infringement. But a lot of people are out here right now buying Apple, buying Tesla, brand new to the markets. And I love to get brand new investors into the markets. However, I want brand new educated investors to the market, right? A lot of people are just kind of doing monkey see, monkey do. Simon says, and follow the leader. And they're just buying because everybody else is buying. That can be a very, very, very dangerous thing because you're just kind of following the herd. And so right now, I'm really starting to wonder when the market is going to have a correction or crash, because not only I'm seeing people buying Apple and Tesla, I'm starting to see, and this is no diss, but I'm starting to see people who've never talked about stock or stock market or investments before a day in their life on their social platforms. And now all of a sudden they are stock market gurus. I mean, like full-fledged PhDs or social media PhDs that are letting everybody know the benefits of the stock market. That worries me. Why? Because that's usually when people get hurt. That's when people usually financially get damaged. And that's never a good thing. So I am a big proponent of people being educated before they make any moves. So yeah, sometimes I'll make fun. It's all fun, right? I'm not really dissing anybody, but yeah, I'll make fun because people understand jokes. People understand laughter. Sometimes people get a little hurt. They get in their feelings, but it's all jokes and it's all in love. Don't just fall into the trap of buying because everybody else is buying. What's your reason for buying? By the way, markets move in cycles. So markets go up and markets go down. It's just like gravity. If something goes up, it's got to come down at some point. What is that point going to be? Will you be able to stay in the rain? Will you be able to survive through that crash? because I've been seeing people spend their last to buy stocks because they think it's a get rich quick scenario, and it's not. It's long term. Now, again, y'all know I don't really talk about trading. There's nothing wrong with trading, but I'm here to serve the new person, the green person, the novice, to help guide them along the path into becoming an investment expert, or at least sufficiently educated on what's going on in the markets. So I don't really talk about anything else except for long-term investments. So again, you don't just want to buy what everybody else is buying. You want to understand what's going on with Apple. How does Apple make money? What's their management team like? Same thing with Tesla. Again, it boggles my mind as Tesla's stock price continues to rise and they're not squarely profitable, right? They can't sell enough cars to truly bring forward a profit. And to me, that's an issue. However, it ain't my money. It's your money. It's their money. And so I'll speak on it, but then I'm going to mind my business. So Tanner D, I hope I answered your question. If I didn't, let me know. If you have any more questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. Let's see what else we got over here on Instagram. What else? All right, Jasmine's on here telling me she's a Brandy fan. Yes, I'm a Brandy fan. I am still hyped over Versus on Monday. I thought it was super dope. I thought Monica and Brandy did a great job. I am partial to Brandy. I am biased. I can't lie. I was saying it to everybody. Madam Touch, how are you? Des Dot, how are you? Miss Mitney, Big Man Tech, what's up? Tara Colson, how you doing? Thank you, Tara, for sharing my post earlier. By the way, thank you to the Kaizen Investor for sharing my post earlier, letting people know to come on and log on with me and spend a little bit of time with us as we talk about this thing in life that we all call money. All right. Okay, so Kaizen Investor asks, what is the financial incentive for a company to split their stock? So the financial incentive is, again, to get more retail investors to buy the stock, which will help promote and support the stock price, keep the stock price going up, right? So Apple, when it split, well, when Apple first announced the split, it was about $400. And once they announced that $400, or once they announced that 4-for-1 split, when it was at $400, everything broke loose. The dogs were free, and the stock price ran up to $500 because people wanted to get in before the split. Because everybody, again, was worried about getting 4 extra shares. When in actuality, 4 extra shares doesn't matter. Well, you know what? I'll walk that back. I won't say it doesn't matter, because the more shares you have, the more opportunity you have to make money, right? So again, Apple split at 125 or to 125. That stock price will probably continue to run because the hype around Apple is that big. All right. Apple is a marketing company through and through. They know how to pull on the heartstrings of their consumers. They know how to serve their consumers too. Warren Buffett says Apple is the greatest company in the world, right? I like Apple. Anybody want to take a guess how much Apple I own? I own got Apple. Anybody want to take a guess? Put it in the chat. How much Apple stock do you think I own? I do own it, so that's a clue. But the incentive is to get more people into Apple, to get more people into Tesla. The more people you have, the more money you have flowing to it, it's better. Now, I'm going to talk about something that most people don't talk about when it comes to stocks. The stock market is very much a marketing tool for companies. Think about it. Apple announces 4-for-1 split. What happened? They got all kinds of publicity, all kinds of PR for free. Or almost for free, right? They got some other stuff on the back end, but Apple brings in over $1 billion a month. So what they spend on it doesn't matter. No, Don, I don't have 100 shares. Nope. Don, guess how many shares of Apple I have? Is 100 shares. Not yet. I think I might start building toward 100 shares at some point, though. I am an Apple fan, by the way. This is not investment advice. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Again, entertainment and educational purposes only. Before you buy any investment, please talk to your investment and tax advisor Remember, past performance is not an indicator of future results, which basically means just because a stock has run up and done well in the past does not mean it will continue to do that way. Companies will run up, do really well, and then they'll hit the ceiling or the top, and then they'll begin to fall. Happens all the time. Happens all the time. But again, investing in the stock market is a marketing and PR tool for companies that are out there. What better way to get more press? All press matters. All PR matters. All right. Good or bad, as long as you know how to spin it. All right. So that's one of the main reasons why they did it. Keeps them going. That PR, those campaigns further strengthen their brand, right? They say it takes at least 7 times for somebody to buy a product or service. So this is one of those 7 times in the lifetime of somebody seeing a product or service for the first time before they actually buy. Do y'all understand what I'm saying when I say that? It takes 7 impressions, right? Person typically, and this is on average, it takes 7 impressions or 7 sights of a brand or a product before your average person will make a buying decision. Yay or nay, right? When they get the PR, the free PR from their stock price splitting, that accounts for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sometimes maybe even 7. You clearly see that it's incentivized people to buy the stock, right? Because as stock prices rise, that means you have more buyers in the market buying the stock than you have sellers. If you have more sellers in the market, the price will fall. But that ain't the case, folks. That ain't the case. My pleasure, Teddy D. Big Tech Man says he learned about watching me. Okay. I know what you referring back to, that 80s drug commercial, though. Smart Alec. You noticed that too, Kaizen? Well, Kaizen, that's because you're super smart. Is SpaceX considered separate from Tesla? I want to say SpaceX is a part of Tesla. And SpaceX, and you know what? I need to double check that, to be honest. I know they have the batteries that they're producing, talking about Tesla. I know they have the panels, the solar panels that are produced by Tesla. And that's great, right? For them, we need more solar. I'm in the alternative energy. But again, as a overall company, Tesla still isn't profitable because their bread and butter is the cars. Now, a lot of people will say you can't evaluate Tesla as a car company. I get that. And I would agree to a large degree. But again, they still ain't got no profits. So what you gonna do with that? All right. So let's see what people guess. All right. I'm taking guessed. All right. How much Apple do y'all think I own? Miss Edith says $10 worth. Don Johnson says $100. Doing my says 10 shares. Adrian Anderson says 5 shares. So I think Miss Edith got a little frustrating. She says, how many shares of, she just wants to know. Less than 100 shares. Definitely less than 100 shares. How many shares of Apple do you have? I say 10. What say you? Miss Edith says that. Sorry to all my people over there on Instagram that can't see the screen over here on IG, over here on Facebook and YouTube. All right, Madam Touch says 0. Big Tech says 0. P. Willis says 60 shares. Kaizen says 100. If I had 100 shares of Apple, I'd be balling. Hey, Paulie, how you doing? All right. Right. Okay, they are separate companies. Okay. People say Tesla's a tech company. It is a tech company, but the main product they sell is cars. So Papillion says 5. I hope I said your name right. Correct me if I did not. No, I hit the number error. Okay, so I'm going to tell y'all what I own. I own $1 worth of Apple, y'all. $1 whole dollar. You know, I always tell y'all that you can invest with just $1. So a lot of the stuff that I'm showing y'all, I'm doing it to show you, like literally, to show you that you can do it. So I bought $1 worth of Apple in January. Last time I looked, it was worth $1.59. For y'all that don't like percentages or converting them, that means I made 59% off my $1. So everybody says you can't invest. You need a lot of money to invest, right? I've had people push back and say, well, investing with a little bit of money doesn't make sense. I'll give you my rationale behind all of that. But see, if he brought the Wall Street Trapper said he brought 100 shares for his daughter. That's dope. That's dope. What do I think about? Okay, so doing my asked, what do I think about buying Walmart shares separately from an ETF? I don't have a problem with it. Walmart shares are going to be in XRT. I want to say XRT ETF. But yes, you can buy Walmart. Walmart is the biggest retailer in the world. Walmart and Amazon are definitely in a death battle to see who's going to reign supreme over nearly everybody. But you know, I don't have a problem with it. Walmart is a great run company. I think Walmart's participation in this possible TikTok acquisition is it's great, right? It shows that the CEO has an ability to think outside the box, because there's really no big retail presence. It's social. What I mean by that is owned by social or owning social. And so I think that's a great thing. I know you didn't ask me that, but I'm just talking about Walmart right now. And so I think that's great. I think that's great. And so no, you don't have to own an ETF to own a piece of Walmart. Remember, an ETF, an exchange traded fund, is just a basket of securities. So it can be a basket of stocks. It can be a basket of bonds. It can be a basket of foreign currency. It could be a basket of commodities. All right. So, you know, you can do it whichever way you want to do it. I tell people, you say it takes $100, 100 pennies to invest, right? 100 pennies, 10 dimes, 4 quarters, 20 nickels. It's not a lot. It's not a lot of money. That's where you can start. And you're doing that through what's called fractional shares. All right. So you're buying fractional shares, which is a piece of stock, right? A whole piece of stock, and you're buying it. But listen, share price don't matter no more. Why? Because you can buy fractional shares. And so the dollar cost, or the amount of dollars that a stock goes up, doesn't matter. We want to see percentage gains. So if I take my $1 and I get 59%, I've a 59% increase. I've done better than the entire stock market for the whole year with just my $1. Now, if you want to magnify that and multiply that and flip it and double it and make it grow, then yeah, buy $100 worth of Apple, buy $200 worth of Apple. The thing to me is, right, I'm gonna keep it funky with y'all. We spend a lot of money on dumb shit, right? So instead of spending a lot of money on our dumb shit, we can spend it on something that could have a potential to grow for us. We can put our money to work for us. When you go to the supermarket, well, let's not say the supermarket, because you need supermarket for sustenance, right? But when you go buy something that you ain't really got no business buying, and listen, we all do it, so I'm not shaming. But when you go buy something that we ain't got no business doing, let's say a pair of sneakers, when you already have 100 pair of sneakers in your closet, right? You can, instead of spending that money on sneakers, you can spend it on something to help increase your wealth, to help increase the wealth of your family. Now, if anybody watches me on Saturdays, y'all know I just interviewed a buddy of mine who is a sneaker investor and flipper. So, you know, he would be quick to say, well, what about guys like me who buy these Jordans and save them and then resell them later? I'm not talking to y'all. But, you know, everybody who just buys stuff just for the sake of buying stuff and not think about your future, because at the end of the day, that's what I'm really talking about. I want you all to invest so you can have a financially secure future. And I don't want you to wait 5 years, 10 years, 20 years later when stuff kind of runs through the roof and we start to see inflation tick up, which will erode shrinking the impact of your dollars. Now, I am not the inflation hawk. I hear a lot of people talk about inflation. I'm starting to hear a lot of these new social media gurus talk about inflation that have never studied economics a day in their life. Again, I'm not hating. I'm just saying. Uh, I just find it. I just find it funny. I just find it funny. Yes, big man tech, Amazon, Walmart is absolutely going directly after Amazon with their online store. They have actually done a lot. Walmart actually was left in the dust with e-commerce. Like they missed the boat. They missed out on so much profits early on in the game. However, they figured out with the way the tide's going, they righting the ship and they've got their tide in line with the wind, so it can push that big behemoth forward, so they can make more money on online. And I saw a part of their earnings report, and they made a bunch of money off of e-commerce now. VSLP, thank you for joining. P. Will says, I purchased Apple when it was $148. Oh, you rich? How you doing? Can I borrow a couple dollars? I purchased Apple when it was $148 before it went up and split. So you get money. All right, Mid Atlantic says, did you see Jordan has joined DraftKings as special advisor? No, I didn't. DraftKings is another stock that's kicking butt. So Kaizen Investor says she wish she could send me a super chat. Yeah, I gotta get my YouTube numbers up, right? I'm still like, it's funny, right? People ask me, Kamari, why haven't you monetized your YouTube channel yet? Well, I gotta get more numbers on YouTube. But to be honest, my numbers are actually like I am not technically in the big league. And what I mean by that is I don't have a super duper large following on social. And the following doesn't matter to me. I actually appreciate more of the personal connections. Like I love when Miss Edith and Don and Kaizen and Frank or Big Man Tech comes on, and it warms my soul because y'all come here every week. So that tells me I am doing something right. And so I will get to super chat status at some point. But listen, if you want to help me get there faster, share it out, invite some people to my YouTube page. All right. Subscribe to my YouTube page. And help me get there faster. I don't know about that, Big Man Tech, but we'll talk about it. Okay, all right. Yes, I did. So all right, Kaizen's pushing me now. Does anybody know what Kaizen means? Right. Kaizen is such a dope word and such a dope concept. And I know a lot. I know the Kaizen investor talks about it, but I want to brag on her a little bit. The Kaizen investor, right? Or just the concept Kaizen. Kaizen is a concept of constant improvement. And so the reason why the Japanese were able to dominate automobile production and electronic production is because they are always looking to improve. And there is an engineer, I think he was an engineer or manager, I forget what exactly his title was. His name is Deming. I want to say W.E. Deming, and he talks a lot about Deming. I would suggest you all read about Deming because he worked in Japan and helped develop a lot of those things. And he was an American, but he worked in Japan, helped develop a lot of the processes for the Japanese to figure out how to conquer the electronic world and the automobile world. So again, when we see the Kaizen investor, she's talking about always improvement. And she does a lot. She does a lot of mindset stuff. So listen, y'all, go follow the Kaizen investor. She's on YouTube. She's also on IG. That's my homegirl right there. And so she says, then get a PayPal or Cash App tip jar. So I did do a Cash App tip jar one time. Maybe I should do it more. Miss Edith likes to send me random Cash App tips. I appreciate her for that. But I'll put it up. Listen, my Cash App is Cash Kamari. Wait a minute, I gotta double check. Yeah, it's Kamari Ellis Senior, I think. And I can't check it on my phone. But that is my Cash App. Kamari Ellis Senior, I think. Somebody double check me on that. So, again, make sure you keep your comments coming. Keep your comments coming. Keep your questions coming. Yes, agile processes and manufacturing. He was doing agile before agile was even a thing. So, hey, Tara Nicole, how you been? How you doing? Monique Dean, what's up, Monique Dean? How you doing? So I got some old friends here. I got my man, Big Man Tank, who's Frank. Me and Frank actually used to live together years ago. We partied a lot. He knows where all the skeletons are buried. If he ever wanted to blackmail me, I'll be toast. Monique used to party with us a little bit too. So thank you for that, Monique. Appreciate you, appreciate you, appreciate you. All right, so listen, what questions we got, y'all? Frank says hello, Monique. Monique says hello, Frank. I'm connecting the old crew. We need to do an old school cookout like we used to back in the day. So, all right, so listen, what questions y'all got? What question you got? Okay, the Kaizen Investor on IG as well. Yes, Kaizen Investor all across across the social media platforms. It's the Kaizen Investor, THE, doing mine. And listen, I want to say this. You know what, Kaizen, you owe me an interview. And I'm actually glad it didn't happen yet, because when I saw you do the mindset stuff and the brain stuff, I was like, this is it. Because I read up on it a little bit, but I am not a master. I'm not really qualified to talk about it, but I do understand the importance of good brain health, good mental health, right? In order to have good mental health, you need good brain health. We don't talk about it at all, but the Kaizen Investor actually talks about the brain, which I think is dope, and how the brain can be used and retrained to develop new pathways, to develop new not techniques, but develop new tools, new ways of doing it to help you grow and become stronger. So I want to talk to you about that, hopefully sooner than later. All right, so Big Man Tech asks, are you looking into any other tech stocks like Intel or AMD? No, I am not looking into any tech stocks. Not because they are not good, not because they don't make money. But Frank, you know I am a consummate contrarian. So when everybody is going right, I naturally want to go left. Usually because the gems, the jewels, and the fortune is not with the crowd. Usually isn't. History has taught us that. The gems, the jewels, and the fortune are usually, at a different angle. For example, everybody went to California out west to dig gold. What did Levi Strauss do? Levi Strauss didn't try to dig gold. They created what's called the picks and I am tongue tied, yo. Picks and shovels strategy, which means that they were looking to do things that were supplemental to the main thing. So what did the gold miners need when they went to California? They needed coveralls, dungarees, or what we know today as jeans, right? So Sarah, I see that. That's a great question. I'll definitely answer that. So they needed jeans. The workers needed jeans. They needed tough clothing, because before that, a lot of the clothing was a thicker type of cotton. It wasn't a sturdy type jean, right? And so when you're in the mines and you're digging rocks, you are getting dirty. You are getting dusty. You are ripping your pants on the sides of the earth in the caves that they're digging down to. And so Levi Strauss, which is still in business to this day, said, you know what? We will sell jeans. We will sell jeans. And so I think that's very important. So I try my best not to follow the crowd. And again, that doesn't mean that the crowd won't make money. I'm just okay not making money with the crowd, if that makes sense to you all. All right. So think about that. Think about that. And a lot of times I like to try to find the hidden gems. Now, you can't always do that. Sometimes a thing is just a thing. Like I said, I've missed out on Tesla. I'm okay with missing out on Tesla. I'm so okay with missing out on Tesla. It's cool. There's always opportunities in the market. There's always an opportunity. Tesla will come and go. Tesla will have its time. And I'm fine with not getting it. I only got $1 worth of Apple because I was buying something else, right? So again, I tell people all the time, you can buy fractional shares. You only need $1, one whole dollar to invest. And so I started buying Ford. I think most of you know I've been buying Ford. It's at a super duper depressed price, but Ford is still a major player in electronic vehicles. Ford has got a great partnership deal with Volkswagen. A lot of people say Ford is trash. I love it when people say Ford is trash. And I always say, come see me in 10 years, right? Because I'm not playing the short-term game. Not for that investment. I can trade. I have traded. I was an institutional money manager, so I traded stocks and bonds for client accounts that I worked at a couple of billion-dollar firms. Right, I was always on the investment committee, so I got input to the investment decisions at a macro level, at a 50,000 foot level. So I can day trade, I can swing trade, I can do all of that, all the fancy stuff. But again, my platform is created for the novice. I'll be honest, and I'm not trying to be arrogant or egotistical in any way, shape, or form. Y'all don't need all that. Most of y'all need to understand what makes a good company, what makes a good business, right? Start there first. And again, I don't have a problem with Forex. Everybody's coming out the woodworks trading Forex. I don't have a problem with trading. All I'm saying is do the basics, right? Do your ABCs, do your 1, 2, 3s. Learn how to walk, or actually learn how to crawl, then walk, then run, right? Don't try to get into the NASCAR when you just turned 16 and got your license. That's typically a combination for death. Oh, Tara, that's why you my homie. Shout out to Tara Colson. So you brought some Ford too? Yes, it's on clearance. They got $30+ billion in the bank just sitting. They did some financing deals, but Ford has always been the best run American company in business, right? They're definitely better run than GM, but everybody recognizes GM because they have the bigger footprint. But if you go back to 2008, when everything fell from the sky, when the market crashed, when the government made when Obama did the big bailouts for the car industry, they made GM take the money. Excuse me. They made Ford take the money. GM needed the money. They made Ford take the money. But Ford didn't need the money. Even amongst all that financial chaos, they did not need the money. So that tells you something about Ford. Right. Tara says their balance sheet is consistent with time. Tara, you need to come do one of these with me. I'm always trying to get you to do more. Well, I don't know if you can now. We'll have to talk about it. But I always want to get you doing more video. You are important. You got a wealth of knowledge. All right, Jack. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on, Jack. I got to get to this question first. So, wait a minute, Frank. You got to put this out there. Again, I'm not telling y'all to buy what I buy. All right. This is not what I'm talking about. Is not investment recommendations. This is for entertainment and investment purposes only. All right. Entertainment and investment purposes only. Entertainment and investment purposes only. All right. All right. So Big Man Tech says, what do you have against cryptocurrency? I don't have anything against cryptocurrency. I was labeled the Bitcoin hater back in 17 when Bitcoin was clearly in a bubble. My problem, I'm gonna tell y'all what my problem is. My problem is we want to be sheep a lot of times and we want to follow the herd. And maybe it's because I'm an only child. I'll admit that. Frank, you've known me a large part of my life. You know I don't feel the need to walk with a bunch of people. I am okay with walking alone and fighting my own battles alone, as I have done so many times, right? And so I don't say that to brag, but I say that to say that we have to have our own understanding, right? People always ask me all the time what your stock picks are. My stock picks shouldn't matter to you. It's just like my wife shouldn't matter to you. And your wife or your lady or your spouse shouldn't matter to me, right? Because you picked them, right? They should be good for you. Somebody just sent me a Cash App. I don't know who it is, but I just want to say thank you in advance, right? So it should be good for you. The same thing goes with investing. The same thing goes with the stock market. The same thing goes with real estate. Same thing goes with crypto, right? Now, again, if sometimes the lines cross, right? Sometimes we all have sparkles of genius all at the same time, right? Nothing happens in a vacuum. I'm sure all of us could probably read through Apple's annual earnings report, their balance sheet, their income statement, their statement of cash flows, and say, hey, this is a strong company. This company has got a future. Plus, they know how to do it's either the number one or number two thing that every business needs to do. They know how to market, right? Many y'all know I love my Black-owned businesses, through the good, through the bad, ups and downs. But a lot of our Black-owned businesses don't market the greatest. Now, I'm probably guilty of that to a certain degree myself, right? I just said at the beginning of this, I don't self-promote these things enough. I don't know why, because sometimes I'm probably aloof when it comes to thinking about self-promoting, even though I do want to help people. So, that's definitely something I need to work on. I can be honest about that. I can be transparent about that. But a lot of our Black-owned businesses fail and suffer because their marketing's trash. Just put it out there. My marketing's trash a lot of days or a lot of times. But it's something I'm cognizant of and that I have to work for. Same thing in investments. If you don't understand those things I just named three very crucial things to investing and analyzing a company, if anybody knows, right? It is statement of the income statement or profit and loss, P&L, you might hear. All right, balance sheet, statement of cash flows. What are they? What are those three things? All right, a P&L, profit and loss, income statement just measures how much business your company is doing, how much they've done in sales. And it also takes into account what you spent to make those sales, right? What's your marketing cost? What's your office expense cost? Do you have any automobile or trucking cost? Did you buy any big equipment, right? How much taxes are you paying? I talk to y'all about taxes a lot. Y'all don't like talking to me about taxes because taxes ain't sexy. But goddamn, if you ain't got your tax plan in order, you can never become wealthy. All right. So just remember that, right? But your balance sheet. What's your balance sheet? Your balance sheet is your overall position. Think of net worth, right? Everybody hears about net worth because everybody's slinging credit cards these days. And they're out here lying to y'all, telling y'all that credit is king, and it is not. Cash is king and will always be king. Credit is queen, though. Credit is very important. But credit and cash, with good credit and cash, you can build a kingdom. But you can see that on your balance sheet, right? How much assets do you have? How much asset, cash, asset, property, asset, a warehouse, asset, intellectual property, right? Intellectual property is intangible. A lot of people don't know that these logos and things like the Coca-Cola logo, Coca-Cola is one of the biggest brands in the world, has value. It's intangible, but it has value, right? That's recorded on your balance sheet. Statement of cash flows. How much money do you have coming in and out, right? Money from sales, money from finance alone, money from selling stock, money from getting investors into your business, right? That's statement of cash flows. We need to understand those as we're looking at companies. If you see a trend and you see a company sales like Sears, I'll never forget I analyzed Sears a while ago. That's actually the last blog post I have up on my blog. I need to change that. It's a couple years old, but Sears for the longest time had declining revenue trends. They had increasing liabilities. Liability is a loan, or liability is something you owe, right? And dwindling cash over time. To me, that tells me the management team is not in touch with reality and they don't understand what's going on with their business. So as you understand these things, these quote unquote accounting terms, you can begin to become an astute, financially educated person, right? Y'all know I hate the term financial literacy because it's a sales gimmick. But again, it takes time. It takes study. You got to put study into it. A lot of us want to get it overnight, instantaneously, like a microwave. Yeah, and I know we live in a microwave society. And I know the news is flowing 24/7. So we think everything's supposed to go good. And listen, some things can go great in a microwave oven. But I am, I guess, old school. I don't want my Thanksgiving turkey made in a microwave, y'all. There are some things that are sacred and precious and that are just too good to be made in a microwave. It's just too good to happen in the blink of an eye. It's just too good to try to skip over all the lessons just to be fast, just for the sake of being fast. All right. These things take time. What time? How long? That depends on you. That depends on how diligent you are, how studious you are, how much studying you want to do. But again, it still depends on you. All right. So again, I don't have a problem with currency. I'm sorry about that diatribe. But I think you probably know what buttons to push on me, sir. All right. Jack, the first three ask, how important do you think having a tax plan is? I just said it. I know you put it up there first, so I'm just playing around. And how much would you recommend for $100,000 a year profit business? All right. So Jack, the first three, you're giving me mixed signals, and I don't think it's intentional, but I just want to be clear before I answer this question, because I don't want to confuse anybody. When you say, how much would you recommend for a 100K a year profit business? What are you talking about? You talking about taxes? We talking about investments? Like, what exactly are you talking about? No, you're not changing the subject. Everybody knows that we talk about all money, right? And I try to make it flow together. Y'all let me know. Do I do a good job flowing together? Because listen, there's some people that want me to do more, and they want me to be like some of the other non-black folks that are on TV. I'll say that. Y'all can guess and fill in the blanks. So, I understand I have to always try to be a good teacher and think about trying to, what they say back in the day is put it where the goats can get it, right? So put it where anybody can understand it, that it's palatable, that it's digestible, and that, they can take it and then put it to work. Because at the end of the day, if I'm just talking for the sake of talking, it's a waste of everybody's time. Joe Brown Construction, how are you, sir? Big Man Tech, yes. My wife matters. She's a nice person to you. What does it take for a black-owned business to be on the stock market? They can register. Sadly, most of the black-owned businesses that are on the stock market don't do very well. A couple weeks ago, we saw Radio One, or excuse me, it's not called Radio One. It's Urban One. We saw Urban One, started by Kathy Hughes. I am a fan of Kathy Hughes. I am a fanboy of Kathy Hughes. She has done phenomenal things. I would never buy Urban One stock. And a lot of people got excited for it around the time we saw some of the corporations getting involved with putting money to HBCUs and doing some other things. Stock went up, stock fell down. Grand opening, grand closing. And folks weren't able to see that nothing really materially changed in the company. Again, it was the hype of the company. And that's why the stock price went up. Hey, Tiffany, how you doing? Welcome. Jack the first, I'm trying to find if you answered that question so I can get to you. How much do you think someone should charge for a plan itself? A financial plan, a tax plan, what kind of plan are we talking? Thank you for taking my trash out, son. With creating a plan. All right, so just to go in a little bit deeper, what does it take for a black-owned business to be on the stock market? So you have to go file with the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. You have to disclose all the stuff, right? So just because you get on the stock market doesn't mean you are a good company. It just means that you disclosed everything that's going on with your company, and they gave you the green light. All right. But yeah, it takes a lot. Listen, some companies shouldn't be on the stock market. It's great, right? Because when you are on the stock market, you have basically an unlimited ability to print money, because you can then raise money a lot easier than your average mom and pop shop. You have access to more investors. You have access to more institutional investors or institutional investment shops. It makes things a lot easier, but those things are also very costly. I don't know if y'all remember Dell, right? Dell computers at one point were publicly traded. They went private. This is a pain in the ass. Excuse my language. Frank, when you say, or Big Man Tech, when you say Ford has a large portfolio, what are you speaking of? They do have a large portfolio in a lot of ways. Jack the First, I'm waiting on that. Okay, either way. All right, so a business with $100,000, what should they be looking to pay? A business with $100,000 in profit. What should they be looking to pay in taxes? Depends on how you do it. If you do it right, it can be almost close to nothing. It will also matter on what type of business structure they actually are in. Everybody is of this mind that I get an LLC and I'm truly in business. Guess what, folks? You don't need an LLC to be in business. We got all these social media gurus who don't have any real experience telling you to form LLCs to either, one, just sound like they know something, or two, to separate you from your money and your wallet. But I won't go too deep on that. I won't go too deep in a rant on that. But I'll say this, 100K, it really would depend. I'll say this, though. If you don't have good books, you won't be able to maximize your tax plan. If you don't have good books in your business, you won't be able to maximize your wealth plan. Why? Because your books let you know. And when I say books, right, I'm talking about the inflows of money that come in from your sales, from your customers or clients, and the outflows of expenses to support those sales, right? So your different vendors and distributors. So we just talked about marketing. Are you running ads, right? Do you need to run more ads? You can use your bookkeeping to figure out the strategy, part of the strategy, for if you should be running ads or not. Can you afford to run ads? I think everybody should be able to afford to run ads, but business has levels, business has phases. So at different times and different levels and different phases, you do different things. All right. So, I would say you can do a lot. I could probably shelter almost $50,000 in a retirement account on a company that has roughly $100,000 in profit. It might not be the wisest thing, though, because even with profit, you still need it, though, to fund growth, right? So we don't want to just take advantage of tax savings just to reduce tax at the sake of not being able to do business. So you need the money, right, to do business. So you might not want to lock it up or spend it for taxes, right? One of my pet peeves is people say, or they ask me all the time, how much money should I spend to get tax deductions? All right. Well, they don't understand that. That's not the game. You don't want to spend money just to get a tax write-off or a tax deduction. You want to spend money to help you build your revenue and then worry about paying your taxes later. All right. And I don't mean to be cavalier when I say that. But yeah. And if we're talking about, again, how much money should you invest with your $100,000? I would say savings should always be a must. So, I always tell folks they should try to save as close to 20% as possible. Right. And then I would be trying to save another 10 to 20% for your savings, or put another 10 to 20% in your savings. Now that's hypothetical. Again, you might like Gucci and Jordans and Louis V, so you might need your whole 100,000. I hope that's not you. I'm pretty sure it's not you, but everybody's different. You might have a family, you might have a spouse, you might have kids, in private school, right? So that cash flow piece, that cash flow piece is paramount. It's so important, and you really got to understand it. So I would say, you mentioned the plan. I would definitely make a plan. I would look at your taxes. I would review your previous taxes. I would look to see what you're spending on insurance. Insurance is important, folks. If you're in business, liabilities insurance is important. Life insurance is important. Disability insurance is important. By the way, September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. So if you haven't reviewed your insurance, your life insurance, please do. If you don't have life insurance, please get some, especially if you have children. So I hope I answered that question for you, Jack. I answered that. How much do you think someone should charge for the plan? That's another question. It depends. It depends on the complexity of the plan. I mean, Years ago, when I was doing financial planning heavily, I mean, there were times when we charged anywhere from $2,500 to $10,000 in plans with the firm I was working with. I do think that price was a little high. I don't know if any of y'all have listened to the podcast, right? I have a whole episode about financial education versus financial planning. I think financial education is more important than financial planning because a lot of times people get these financial plans, they have no idea what they mean. They get a stack of paper, they go up on the shelf. They don't use it, they don't execute them, and they get lost. And so, there's a lot of things about that. All right. Uh-oh. So my IG just went down. I didn't even notice it. Y'all got me on here running my jibs today, y'all. Any questions y'all might have, feel free to throw them in to the chat. I've been on for about an hour. I'll stay on a little bit longer. Y'all know I tend not to eat before I do these, and by the time I'm done, I'm like famished. But I don't like to eat because I get sleepy. I get the itis. So I try to give y'all the best that I got. So I don't like to eat, or at least heavy, before I come on with the rest of the family. All right, so I see a couple more questions coming in. Give me 2 seconds. I want to restart my IG live. I really wish there was a tool that connected all of them, but there isn't. So we'll continue to work with what we got until we get something better. So give me 2 seconds. Un momento. There we go. So Lady K, I did not discuss why Tesla dropped today. I didn't discuss why Tesla dropped. I'll be honest, I'm not sure why Tesla dropped, but I can look and figure it out pretty quickly. And my lighting has me super duper overexposed. I got to get a new setup, y'all. I don't know why it keeps doing that. But I'll get it soon enough. All right, so Kaizen, right? Edith Richard says continuous improvement of working practices, personal efficiency, etc. See, I learned something new today. Yes, good. My job is done. I can go home now, or I am home in my home office, but I can go to sleep. My job is done. Thank you, Ms. Edith. Appreciate you. All right, so, okay, Ms. Edith says I have, but which life insurance do you recommend? Life or term? I think you're saying whole or term. Forgive me, I was on the phone supporting someone. No problem. I appreciate you. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Sorry about that. I got carried away running my jibs, speaking to all my peoples on IG. And I didn't even realize that the hour went by so long, and we only get an hour on IG, or the 9 super duper celebrity folks only get an hour on IG. If I was versus, I could go on and on forever. All right, so I want to answer Lady K's question. Why did Tesla fall today? Let's see. So Tesla fell about $27.68. So, yeah, that'll do it. Exactly what I'm talking about, folks. So I love talking to y'all. Hold on, let's talk about it. Bear with me for a minute. We're going to talk about Tesla real quick. Do me a favor, everybody. You're watching the Finance Rebel Show. Today is Wednesday, is our Wealthy Wednesday section. Every Wednesday, I just get on and answer y'all's questions, talk to y'all, fellowship with y'all, conversate with y'all. I know that's not a word. But just have a good time when we talk about money. I really feel that we need to all talk about money more. If we're really serious about empowering ourselves and empowering our community, we need to talk about more. If we're really serious about wealth, a lot of us are just kind of talking the talk, but we're not really walking the walk. However, talking is very important. Conversations are very important. However, The right type of conversations are important. All right. If you spend all day long fascinated by the material things, the consumeristic things, the things that fade away easily over time, you're going to be left lonely and broke 9 times out of 10 because you won't save any money, you won't invest any money, and you'll never really put time into relationships that really matter. All of those things are major ingredients in that cake that I call wealth building, right? So it takes a lot of different ingredients to build a cake: flour, milk, sugar, eggs. But guess what? Take one of those things out, you don't have a cake. You have something else, right? And so a lot of times people just want, black and white answers, but they don't realize that there's levels to it. You need different ingredients. You need different things, different phases. And so remember all that. And having these conversations helps to keep you on track with the things that are important as it relates to money, as it relates to wealth. All right. So Tesla shares fall as largest outside shareholder cuts holdings, citing portfolio restrictions. So that's why Tesla fell. All right. So I don't know if you all can see that. Let me expand that on the screen a bit more. Hopefully y'all can see that. But Bailey Gifford, Tesla's largest outside shareholder, has reduced its position in the electronic automaker after the company's rapid share appreciation made it an outsized influence on the firm's holdings. All right, I'll explain that to y'all in 1 minute. All right, that's more to do about actual portfolio management, like the art and the true job of portfolio management, what they're talking about. Y'all might think it's a bunch of gibberish, but we're going to break it down. All right. A filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission on Wednesday showed that the UK-based fund group, right, they're an investment fund group based in the UK or England, now owns less than 5% of Tesla, down from a 6.32% position, according to data from FactSet. FactSet, I used to use years ago, is this marvelous universe of data that they crunch and they spit back analytics and facts about investments, about a lot of things, actually. All right. So they say, we intend to remain significant shareholders for many years ahead. We remain very optimistic about the future of the company. Bailey Gifford, James Anderson said. Shares of Tesla were down as much as 14.7% before recovering some of those losses. All right. So long and short of this all, right? The market saw somebody come in and sell. Remember, I talked about this earlier. The prices will fall when you see more, when you see more people coming in and selling, right? Price goes up when you have more buyers coming in to buy. It's basic economics. It's basic supply and demand. All right. The more people you have, the more people you have chasing after a product or service, typically the more pricing or the increase in price, I just messed that up, y'all. The more likelihood you will see an increase in pricing overall. All right. Why? Because people want it. Why? Because you're hot. All right. I mean, that's the idea of your business, right? How can you make yourself so hot that you can have people write a check for an unlimited amount? That's when you got power. I'm not saying you would do that, but could you do it? Could you increase price without your clients, your customer base leaving you? Why is that important? Because if you can do that, you have value. You've delivered value. A lot of our businesses need to understand what delivering value is. All right. But we'll talk about that some more. But that's why Tesla fell. Now, Bailey Gifford is a big investment group over in UK. They had a big position, right? And so what happened was they probably had about a 5% position. It grew because the price went up, right? So just think about a pizza pie, right? And so in that pizza pie, everybody's got, let's say equal shares, and let's say you can get 10 shares out of a pie. But what happens if one of those slices just grows, right? So it's no longer the same. It blows everything out of proportion. And there's a technique in portfolio management which is reallocating or rebalancing, because they have risk parameters, or let me put it like this. They don't want to lose money. In order for them not to lose money, they restrict how much money they put into any one investment. And so a lot of times it's 5%. And I'm using 5% because they said now they own less than 5%, right? So they had 6.32%, right? Those numbers vary. If you have $100 million, a 6.32 position is going to be different than if you have, let's say, $100,000 with a 6.32 position. So again, they use that to maintain balance in their portfolio. They do it to diversify, to make sure that they don't have all their eggs in one basket. And so they trim down their investment in Tesla, take some profit because Tesla's run, right, crazily. They know that. They probably believe that Elon will deliver the Black Jesus mobiles at some point soon, over time, and they'll do well. And so they said, you know what, let's pull back a little bit. Our overall plan is to, let's say, have no more than 5% in any one position. So that's why Tesla fell. And I bet, I'm not sure how much Billy Gifford has in assets under management, right? Basically, how much money are they investing for other people? But I would imagine it's a large amount because they made the news. All right. And so let me do this. Let's look at this. Let's take a look at it. Because one of the things I truly feel is that we need more folks, our folks, in the financial industry. Free ain't free. Oh, that's right. Free ain't free. How you doing? Welcome. You know what, Robert? I don't know how to pronounce your new IG tag. People change the tags and I forget it. So I think it's, yeah, I don't know what it is. All I know is lender. But that's Robert Lewis. That's your resident mortgage lender. We do a lot of stuff together when we're talking about mortgages. He's checking us out over on IG. All right, so I now have the Bailey Group website. Sorry, the Bailey Group's website on the page, right? So let's just look at the About Us real quick. So Bailey Gifford is a unique in the UK, and being a large scale investment business that has remained an independent private partnership. All right, so that's just talking about how their business is structured, their partnership. You know what I want to. This ownership structure has allowed us to keep our efforts focused entirely on our clients and their investments. And what they're talking about is, you've seen a lot of investment shops over the year become publicly traded. You've even seen life insurance companies become publicly traded. And they become publicly traded because, again, it is a printing press for money. They are much easier to raise capital and then invest that money back into their business, ultimately to make more money. However, it comes with a lot of regulation, a lot of red tape, a lot of work. And so it can be a distraction to doing the overall business. All right. Let's see. I'm trying to see what else we can find out about the company real quick. I don't want to bore you all just looking at this website. Talk about new partner. Let's see. Don't see anything. No, I don't want your cookies. Everybody asking for my cookies. My cookies is for me. For me and my milk and cookies. It's a personal thing. It's a very intimate thing. Everybody want my cookies, and I'm serious, y'all. I know that's a joke, and it's a code word for other things. But listen, people was making money off your cookies, and I don't think people understand, because the cookies are data about you. They can tell about your price and spending behavior, or your shopping behavior, and many of us don't understand that. And since I won't accept them taking my cookies. Investment stewardship. Let's see what they have to say here. But since I won't accept taking their cookies, they're not giving me all the access. I get it. All right, defining approach. What do we mean by stewardship? By the way, that's funny. Stewardship is actually one of my favorite words. I consider myself a steward, a financial steward. All right, so I can't find it quickly, y'all. I don't want to bore y'all. I don't want to put anybody to sleep. So we'll keep answering questions. I'll keep answering questions. Hey, Latoya. Your Blue Yeti, you on back order? All right, so when you get that Blue Yeti, we going to do a show together? You want to honor me? All right, so Tara Colson asked a question. Sorry to take so long. Hey, Ms. Mitney, thanks for coming back. But Tara asked, what are your thoughts on City First and Broadway financial merger? I think it's dope. I think more of us need to be thinking about mergers, right? Now, why is it dope? Did anybody see the article that I wrote called Dear White People? Let me see if I can find that right quick. So Dear White People, I was really frustrated with the level of pandering I saw amongst corporations as it relates to the Black community. Yes, I am the Black guy who will talk about race, who will talk about culture, investments in finance, and merge it all together. That's me. It's always been me. But I was super duper frustrated when I saw all the pandering that took place after Big George was murdered, sadly. And so I kept seeing non-Black people, white folks, saying, what should they do? Like it's really rocket science. But, I'll temper myself on that for right now. And so I just put together a list and I did a video for it. And the name of it is Dear White People. And so I will show that to you real quick. Because again, I got some more questions. All right, but I think this conversation is still relevant to this day. And we've seen some things. We've seen some growth. So again, Dear White People, do you really want to help? Are these expressions of support for the Black community real? Question mark. All right. So then I just went ahead and I gave suggestions for white folks that what they can do to personally support Black communities, right? First thing, deposit a minimum of $1,000 into a Black-owned bank, right? Black-owned banks are very crucial to the health and prosperity, not just financially, but also emotionally and spiritually and mentally to the Black community. Then I did a corporate piece, right? First thing, deposit $1 million into Black-owned banks. Now, Netflix took up that challenge. I was joking around and saying Netflix read my article. Reed Hastings gave a bunch of money to a bunch of major HBCUs, but he gave $100 million, or excuse me, Netflix gave $100 million to Black-owned banks. I think that's dope. And let me be clear, right? Because language is important. And I'm always complaining about people just spreading misinformation. They didn't give Black banks $100 million. They deposited $100 million in Black banks, right? So there's no loss, there's no cost, right, to Netflix. They just moved it from one institution to another. It's the same listing on their balance sheet. The only difference is, yes, cash gets listed on your balance sheet when you are a business. The only difference is it's got a new name. All right, it's got a new name. And so in here, I talked about there being 21 Black-owned banks across the country, not in one city, not in one state, but 21 Black-owned banks in the country. There's 107 HBCUs in the country. But there is only about, I want to say, dang, I'm trying to remember the stat. I want to say there's roughly, I thought it was in here. I want to say maybe 23 billion in the banks as deposits. That ain't a lot of money, y'all. That is not a lot of money. So to answer Tara's question, I think it's absolutely dope because we need to start combining our forces so we can do or achieve economies of scale. What does economies of scale mean? That, you and I can put 1+1 together and we can get 3 instead of 2. Some people also call it synergies. Synergy has been overused over the years. But listen, look that up. It's on Medium. There's also a video on YouTube as well. Look at it. Tell me what you think. Is it good ideas, bad ideas? I think they're good. I wrote it, but I think it's a good idea. And so, Tara, I think Black businesses need to sometimes, not all the time, right? Because partnerships are hard, mergers are hard, but at the scale at these banks are, I think it's a great thing. Because again, the largest Black bank only has about $1 billion in deposits. It's hard to really do anything with a low limited asset base. So I was happy to see that merger. It'll help to get you more access to capital. So just going through a couple of these. What do you think about the Broadway merger now that they're the merger? Yeah, I love it. I think you asked that twice. Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. One of the things you got to think about, though, when you are doing mergers is culture. Culture is everything, y'all. And what do I mean by culture, right? Some companies are very, very sales oriented. Some cultures, business cultures I'm speaking of, some business cultures are very relationship oriented. When you get those two together, they mix. Oh, no, the stock. To be totally honest, I haven't looked at the stock. I will. That is a great recommendation. I'll look at it. Do me a favor. Can I ask the favor? Can you send me an inbox to remind me to do that? I be forgetting stuff, y'all. Yeah, I know I got some other things. My man Taid, how are you, sir? Thanks for joining. Dave Brown, I think that is. How are you? P. Wills is back in the house. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, Genesis Accounting. There's a lot of janky tax folks out there. I think we have to talk more about that. A lot of people think a good tax return is a tax return with a big tax refund. That's a lie. All right. A good tax return is a tax return that's done in accordance with the law and according with the IRS code, not necessarily based upon how big a tax return is. All right. All right. So I'm getting to the rest of these questions, folks. Be patient with me, please, please, please. By the way, shout out to Chad Boseman. May he rest in power. It was really sad to see him do that. I know our social medias have been flooded with memorials of him, and duly so. He's done a great bit of work. He's contributed a lot of things, and I think, and I'm not sure why I thought of him, but I wanted to say that. I just wanted to put that out in the universe. All right, so the Kaizen investor asks, what are some common tax mistakes that you notice new business owners make? I know I've got a couple of videos on it, so I'm going to pull. So off the top of my head, new business owners, they don't have bookkeeping. They don't truly understand what they're getting into a lot of times. A lot of times they won't pay somebody for a consultation, but they will take the advice of a social media influencer, right? And so listen, I am not immune from my own commentary, folks, right? So if you see me say something while I'm in the commission of talking on social media and doing education, entertainment purposes, and you have not paid me, I would not suggest you use that as advice, right? Again, this is for entertainment and educational purposes only. A lot of these people are clowns, y'all. And I'm gonna just keep it funky. A lot of these people on social are clowns, and we are listening to them. Just because you have a large following does not mean you know what the hell you're talking about. There's one lady, and I won't say her name. Genesis Investing probably knows what I'm talking about. But there's one lady who keeps getting to make the rounds on major television. Gets promoted by a lot of folks. She don't know diddly squat. And I believe all she's doing is selling. Genesis or Latoya, we are in a black tax professional group. And we talk about it all the time. Many of us have had to approach the person and say, hey, what you just said is not correct. Right? They still do it. And listen, I get it. They got a platform. They're on now. They popping. They don't feel the need to be good stewards. They don't feel the need to double check your information before you say it, right? And then if you make a mistake, right, because I'm human, I make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Come out, issue a correction, apologize sincerely, and try to, do it right? So, I'm not saying that people don't make mistakes. What I'm saying is people make gross, or show gross due diligence. Or excuse me, that's not what I'm trying to say. They are grossly negligent. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the wordage. They don't care. They don't give a damn. They just say stuff that it sounds fly. It sounds funny. It sounds cute. They think it's funny. If anybody can pull that rap bar out, that was a rap bar, y'all. Let me know who said that. But in all seriousness, a lot of people listen to the wrong folks. They listen to the wrong folks. All right. So that would be one of the big tax mistakes. Another big tax mistake a lot of people make, again, it goes back to bookkeeping, but I want to be super, super duper specific. They don't track how much money they actually invest into the business, which will affect how your taxes play out in the long run. Because if you mix up, let's say you put 10,000. So Kaizen, you're a real estate investor, you're heavy in the game. And let's say one day you want to start a property management company to manage all your real estate. You could have a separate company for that. To do that, a lot of people do it. It's a very common strategy. But you start it up and you say, you know what, I think I need 10 grand and startup capital to get, office space, to get my telephones, to get my contracts in order. Contracts, major key. I'll come back to that. Get my contracts in order, get my leases in order. So my tenants don't take advantage of me. There is a video floating around of a man distraught about a tenant destroying his property. I know I've told y'all the story when I was a property manager of tenants destroying my property. Thank God I didn't own the property. My clients did, but it was just as bad, almost, because I had to handle everything. But, when you're tracking it, $10,000, you put it in rental space, leases, maybe you buy some tools and equipment, but you need to keep track of all that money that went in because that was your money. Sometimes people don't keep track of it and they mix it in with the money they got from when they collected the rent. And I don't want to get into all that because then that gets a little more convoluted, but let's say they're collecting the rent. And when they go report that, they mix the money they put in with the money they corrected for the rent. And so now they are reporting higher income or higher revenue than what they actually made. Major mistake. All right. So, take the time to do bookkeeping and learn bookkeeping. I'm thinking about doing like a business 101 tax class or tax course or something. I'll probably do it I want to do it for something low. Because there's a lot of people that are venturing into entrepreneurship, and they're just getting bad information, y'all. Really bad. And it's sad. So I'll probably work on doing that really, really soon. But I didn't keep track of how many of those were, Gia, or the Kaizen investor. But those are some on the top of the list. I mentioned contracts again, because a lot of times we forget about, spending time with doing contracts. Sometimes you can hire an attorney. Sometimes that's best. Sometimes you can go find templated contracts. All my contractor friends are going to have a heart attack if they see this and probably cuss me out. I would recommend, though, if you have no idea of what you're doing and you've never done it again, hire an attorney to help you go over these contracts. Because listen, you don't know what you don't know. Like I said, I've got over 20 years in, and it wasn't just me going all the way. My father was my first mentor, and then, other folks. So I got to see and learn and benefit and stand on the shoulders of other people that came before me. I was fortunate, right? A lot of people don't have that. It came with a cost, though. Please believe it wasn't free. I paid the cost to be the boss. So yeah, those are some. I didn't get all those. If y'all got them, put them in the chat for me. Maybe I'll create a PDF to give out to folks. All right, got that, Miss Edith. Yes, an hour's passed. Got that. All right, another half an hour's passed. I'm keeping time on the clock. Yeah, we got to the Tesla. Lady K, did that Tesla description make sense to you? Did you get that? Did you grasp it? All right, great. What is the difference between mutual funds and bonds? All right, mutual fund. I hate mutual funds for the record. Just want to let you know that, being fully transparent. I like ETFs better. I like exchange traded funds better. But a mutual fund is basically a basket of investments. You have Chinese only investment or Chinese only stock mutual funds. You have S&P 500 mutual funds that are mutual funds that only invest into the Standard & Poor's 500 index, which is basically the 500 largest businesses in the United States. You actually have bond mutual funds as well, right? So the ag, well, you know what? I'm shouting out the indexes, which y'all might not know, might confuse y'all, right? But there's different indexes for bonds as well, right? But you have the 2-year bond, you have the 10-year bond, right? And I'm not talking about my mom and Nana's I bonds that they gave the babies for Christmas and for graduation gifts, right? That's something totally different. I'm talking about the bonds that the government's issues, sometimes corporations issues. They basically give you an IOU. You give them money. You loan them money. You're loaning the government money with a bond. You are loaning corporations money when you are buying a bond from them. Usually the bonds pay some type of interest, and they get to hold it for you for 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 30 years. It really varies across the spectrum. But mutual funds and bonds are two different things, right? You have mutual funds that will invest in bonds, right? And they make it easier for your average everyday individual, your retail investor, to buy mutual funds and bonds, because buying bonds individually can be a bit intimidating and a bit costly. So you have these investment companies that will have mutual funds or ETFs that will buy bonds, and then you can buy bonds with them. So let me know. Alton, by the way, Alton, thanks for joining us. I appreciate you here. Honored that you're here. You're always here with me, Alton. I appreciate you. Vegan cake. I missed that one. Okay, great. You said it makes sense. All right, yeah. Don't let me just ramble on, y'all, and leave y'all. Stop me. Raise your hand. Say, yo, I ain't get that. All right, CJ Willis, what's up, bro? How you doing? Thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate you. An index fund is an ETF, but usually when they talk about index funds, they're talking about mutual funds 9 times out of 10, right? And when they talk about index funds, they're talking more about passive investments, because you do have actively managed mutual funds, and you also have actively managed ETFs. And I feel like I just went down a rabbit hole a little bit, right? So when I say actively managed, there's somebody actually there pushing the buttons, making the investment decisions, whether they be stock, whether they be bonds, whether they be real estate, whether they be commodities, right? However, you also have what's called passive investing, all right? Passive investing is the total opposite of active investing, right? Passive investing is somebody over there, they're still kind of pushing the buttons, but all they're buying is what's on this list. So, for example, what's on the list? The Standard & Poor's 500, right? And within the Standard & Poor's 500, you have different sectors and different industries. I think Ms. Carol's on. Ms. Carol actually asked me to do a presentation on sectors and industries. And what do I mean by sectors and industries? The financial sector is a financial sector. Healthcare is considered healthcare is a healthcare sector of the S&P 500. All right. You have consumer discretionaries. We have this consumer staples, right? Consumer staples are typically things where people need stuff to live and survive. Supermarkets are typically in there. People that make food, like a Tyson, the chicken guy, does that. Why does the black guy know about the chicken manufacturer? But that's a joke, by the way, folks. But yeah, that's the different aspects of it. Hey, Ms. Carol, if you're watching, because I think I saw you pop up, I'll actually do a whole dedicated show to sectors and industries, because Again, going back to the S&P 500, you will have different weightings. So, for example, technology is a sector within the S&P 500, and the S&P 500 technology makes about 20% of the overall S&P 500. So the S&P 500 is being driven by technology stocks. Let that sink in for a minute, right? Because technology stocks have been kicking butt this year. All right. And so when you look at that, that's what you see when you go into index funds and ETFs and things like that. It's not as complicated. I feel that I just made. Did I make that complicated, y'all? Y'all can tell me the truth. Because again, the whole point I do this is because I want people to have a better understanding of financial education, especially investments. So again, it doesn't make sense for me to just ramble on and just talk about something if y'all ain't getting it. And sometimes I will nerd out on y'all. I'm just saying. Just being honest. All right. Michael Dennis, what's up, brother? How's it out on the West Coast? Edith Richards says, I want to say that I listened to a suggestion Kamari made. I purchased $10 of Amazon on Cash App. Ooh, yes, ma'am. And I've earned a dividend thus far of $4.89. Really? You made that much in a dividend off of $10? Okay. Look what 100 pennies does. You know what? I like that. I might use that as a slogan. Maybe I'll put it on the shirt. Yep. Well, thank you for sharing that testimonial, Miss Edith. I appreciate that. Lady K asks, can you open a mutual fund for a child now? Yes, you can. But thinking about how to simplify this, right? So again, mutual funds, stocks, bonds, ETFs, they are investments. What you are going to do if you want to open it up for a child is you're going to open it up in a child's account. Usually they call them custodial accounts. They call them UGTMAs, UMAs, Uniform Gift to Transfer Minor Act, and there's another one. They're basically the same. There are some differences. I haven't looked at the technicalities, but it's not much. Usually you can put money away for a child. When the child either becomes 18 or 21, the money then turns over to the child. All right. So within those accounts, by the way, you could also buy 529 plans and educational IRAs or Coverdell IRAs as well. You can put money in there for the child's interest, and they will invest it, or you will invest it rather, in various things. So you get to pick what you want to invest in 9 times out of 10. All right. All right, we here. We won't let you ramble. All right, appreciate you, Ms. Edith. All right, my pleasure being here, my brother. Never a waste of time. The vegan cake shout out came from when you were talking about the ingredients. Yes. Okay. Oh, got you. You know what though? All right, I feel what you're saying now. I was just trying to give an example of how some things are multi-stepped and complex, and we are like black and white answers and responses because we don't want to take the time to either research or think through many things. I want to share something with y'all. I want to ask y'all a question. I want y'all to tell me if I'm right or wrong. And, this is a family conversation amongst my folks. I put a post out there on my Facebook personal feed a while ago. And I said, I said, and I'm paraphrasing my own self, right? I said, it's come to my realization that there are a lot of Black people who are indeed lazy. And I didn't say all. Again, I said there's a lot of Black people who I feel are indeed lazy. A lot of people gave me a lot of pushback on that. Nobody bothered to ask me why I said that, but they just said, Kamar, you're being elitist. You're acting like a Republican. I get called a Republican a lot, folks. By the way, it's okay for Black folks to be Republicans. However, during this climate, it would be blasphemy for Black people. It is blasphemy for Black people to be Republican right now. So that's my political commentary for the night. But I want to ask y'all, do y'all feel that that statement is wrong? Do y'all feel that that statement was hateful? Do you feel that that statement was hurtful in any way, shape, or form? Tell me what y'all think. All right. Masita says we're learning. All right. Thus far, yep, got that. I hear people say asset class often. What are asset classes? Asset classes are Asset classes. What is an asset class? An asset class is an asset. An asset is what? Real estate, cash, stocks, bonds, currency, commodities. And then you could also kind of break it down into subcategories of asset class, like um, let's say when we talk about stocks, right? You have domestic stocks. And when I say domestic, I'm here in the United States, right? So it's domestic stocks and there's international stocks. All right. When we talk about asset class, right? I talked about bonds. You have corporate bonds and you have government bonds, right? And so the whole purpose of asset class, we're talking about asset class, is each one of those assets has their own characteristics, right? So it's in a class of itself. It thinks on a different way. It acts on a different way. It moves differently than everyone else. And so when it does that, right? When it does that, we say, all right, well, we want different asset classes for different periods and times in our life. But sometimes for different periods and times of the market cycle, like what's going on in the market. Like right now, we are in what's considered, I would consider it, right? Some people would disagree, probably a late stage bull market. And I say it's a late stage bull market. The market is still upward. It's still climbing upward. But I feel that some things are going to happen and we're going to have either a crash or correction. I still believe the market overall will still seek to move higher or will tend to move higher over time. But there will be times where the stock market pulls back, right? It's just like the seasons. Winter, spring, summer, fall, they all act different. I was about to start singing Gerald Levert, Winter, Spring, Summer, Fall, I'll do my all to give you my love. But I don't know how in tune y'all are with Gerald Levert and the OJs. But I hope that answers your question, Alton. Oh, you told the truth and people became angry. Yeah, I told the truth. And again, I don't think that people are the same thing all the time, right? I think people can be lazy. I feel like I'm lazy sometimes, right? But I think people can be lazy and then realize it. Oh shit, I've been lazy. I need to get off my ass and do some work. I need to get off my ass and do some research. And so that thought came from not necessarily of people not necessarily wanting to do work, but I feel a lot of people are mentally lazy. I feel a lot of people don't want to think. I feel a lot of people don't want to research. I see, I said I wasn't going to go too deep in politics, but I see people repeat the same stuff over and over again in politics, but they haven't researched politics. They haven't studied it, and they just say what somebody else said, and they have no way of developing their own thought process. I don't want us to be mindless drones, y'all. I think that's a waste of everybody's time. That's a waste of everybody's God-given gifts, abilities, and talents, right? If I'm being honest, right? Because you just mimicking or regurgitating what somebody else says. What are your real thoughts? When you read this information, how did it make you feel? What did you think about it? Did you read enough of it? Did you go deep enough to read it? Some people will read a page of something, right? But they won't get the whole context of the 200 pages in front of it and the other 100 pages behind it. It's like a lot of times when we watch these social media video clips that are 15 seconds and somebody will come on and say, oh, this guy's an idiot. But the guy might have said something brilliant for the first 5 minutes and then something extremely, extraordinarily brilliant the 10 minutes after that. So we won't even take the time to get context, y'all. So that's where that thought came. That's where that thought came. But Don said it's true. Edith says it's true. All right, so I ain't bugging. I ain't off base. I was going to change my mind if y'all disagree with me. I don't think that statement's wrong at all. No, thank you. All right, so could you please repeat the statement? My Wi-Fi was acting up. All right, guys, in which statement? I said a couple of things about being lazy. I said I think a lot of black people are lazy. Not all, right? Because Lord knows we've been depicted as being lazy in this country, and that's a goddamn lie. Excuse my language, y'all. Which is better for a child to get? It truly depends. Listen, I'm going to tell y'all another thing. If there's somebody that can give you a cookie cutter approach or an absolute approach to your financial solution in 30 seconds or less, they're lying. or they're trying to sell you something to get you out of your money. So Alton, it really depends. It depends on what your goals are. It depends on how much money you have. It depends on what your plan is. With a custodial account, you have a bit more flexibility because in a 529 plan, it's all for college. Well, we know right now there's a lot of folks saying that college is dumb. I'm going to resist even going into that. We can talk about that another time. That gives me agita. But again, it really depends on your situation. If you want to talk about it offline, we can talk. But at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for your wallet and pocketbook. Well, Alton, you ain't got a pocketbook. For your wallet, and and figure out what you need or what your child needs best, right? I'll tell y'all real quick. One of my biggest parental mistakes for my 26-year-old is he wanted to go to tech school when he was in high school. I wanted him to go to more of a college prep school. And I wasn't opposed to tech or working with your hands. I said, you could find a job, or I could find you an internship to do that. But the focus should be college. I still believe that now, but I believe it with a little bit of a twist. I do believe that I should have let him go to tech school, right? So with knowing that, me putting away for him, and I think I had a Coverdell IRA for him at the time, I shouldn't have been doing that. I should have been doing a custodial or, a unified UTMA or custodial account. Again, I get the alphabet soup mixed up. I should have done a custodial account for him. That would have been the better play, right? That would have been more in alignment with his overall gifts, abilities, and talents, his God-given gifts, abilities, and talents, right? Because he ain't like school. And I could not convince him otherwise. Now, my two younger children get honor roll all the time. And he ain't dumb. He's far from dumb. That's what used to frustrate me all the time. But again, I was out of alignment there. So I was wrong. And I share that in hopes with that, our parents, I was a young parent, so I made a lot of mistakes. But I share that in hopes that, people start to open up, pay more attention to your children, because I should have been paying more attention to my child, right? Where his gifts lied, what he could do. And y'all ain't got to make the same mistake that I did. Mar did that, so you ain't got to do that. I've been dropping rap lyrics on y'all all night, but I don't think y'all catching it. Kelly, shout out to Kelly. Shout out to Kelly's Closet. Kelly's Closet has the biggest plus size lingerie company. The biggest, I'm saying it wrong, Kelly. The biggest plus size lingerie company in the United States. So shout out to Kelly. Shout out to Kelly. That's my homie. Lil Rip Jr., how are you? So Ms. Mitney says, yes, I agree. We need good books. I neglected that I got audited and had to pay for that. Oh, so you got audited. Dang, I wish I would have thought about it. But you got audited. Was that a business? I don't know if you have a business. This is your personal thing. I don't want you to give out all your business, but I am curious, what happened. But yes, books are necessary. When I say books, I'm talking about bookkeeping, y'all. Pay these folks, y'all. Pay these professionals. It's funny. I do get, and I don't mind, right? I'll give it all. And again, I'm not trying to be cocky or anything. I'll give it all. But even when I give it to you, there's no way you can truly synthesize my 20 plus years of experience in a 15-minute sit down. So again, I don't mind giving it all, because hopefully me dropping some jewels will encourage you to go do some more research or ask me some more questions or seek out other mentors and other professionals and ask them questions so you can do it right. Isaiah Wilson, how are you? Lovely Lace, how are you? Don't Neil. I think I messed that up. I'm sorry. J0115, how are you? P. Wills, how are you? Explain the difference in investment and investment products. I think I know what you're getting at, but I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about, Kelly. All right, so here, I'll say this, right? There's no such thing as a bad financial tool or a bad investment product or a bad financial product. There's bad strategy. People don't understand strategy. And in order to truly understand strategy, you got to understand the different products, and the different investment products. So you have mutual funds, you have ETFs, you have stocks, you have bonds. This kind of goes back a little bit to the asset class question that I answered a little bit, but you got to understand how they move, how they ebb and flow, what kind of tax implications these products will have on your situation. It's so important. One of the things, again, I feel like I'm blessed for or blessed with is because since I work with my dad, I had a great understanding of accounting and tax at an early age. And when I transitioned to become a financial advisor, their whole thing was just to sell. Typically with accounting, it's more consultative. I'm still more consultative, right? I don't need to sell you anything. If you don't believe in my authority and my command and my authority to give you a recommendation, we don't need to work together. I know the sales gurus will probably disagree with that, and I am cool with that. However, I study, y'all, and I am a practitioner, so I have years and years of experience, and years of good times, and years of bad times or mistakes. So I blend that all together in my cake when I deliver my cake to my clients. So it really just depends on what you got going on, what you're trying to do. I'm trying to think of an investment. So yeah, 529 would be a particular investment product. And we talked about the Coverdales being a particular investment product. We talked about the custodial accounts for your children as being a different type of financial products. But inside of those different financial products, you can put investments in them. All right. And usually, just a kind of a rough and dirty example of what an investment is. An investment is something you want to put your cash in because you can't use the definition in the definition, right? So I can't say it's a tool that you want to invest your money in to make your money grow, right? So an investment is something you want to put your money in where you want to see your money grow greater than what you would, let's say, in a bank account. By the way, there's nothing wrong with a bank account. There's nothing wrong with having a big stash of cash. I think savings and cash is important. And anybody in any company that has done anything major in business typically has a bunch of cash or has great cash flow. All right. Yes. Thank you, Kelly. UGMA, Unified Gift to Minors Act. UTMA is Unified Transfer to Minors Act. I just had to see it. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you. And educational IRA will affect financial aid when it comes. Yes. And that's the other thing. You actually have to think about how some of these products are going to affect your financial aid. 529s and your educational IRAs won't affect financial aid if your children plan to go to college in the same way that a UGMA account will. FX 2020, how are you? Tariq Wallace, what's up, Bobcat? How you doing, brother? Miss Garcia, how are you? I agree with the statement of being lazy for myself. A lot of knowledge, but don't use it. Hey, well, listen, we just acknowledged it, right? First thing is we got to acknowledge it. Second thing is we got to take action. So let's take some action. I Deliver Beauty joint. How are you? I Deliver Beauty. Thanks for joining us tonight. Master Neek, how are you? I Deliver Beauty. Hello from the NO. I still ain't been there yet. I can't wait to get to the NO. I love what I see from them. I still haven't been there. So much culture there. I saw the other day that 13% of people have a 529 plan for their kids, and less than 50% have any savings for their kids. Yep. A lot of people, a lot of the ladies will save for their children before they save for themselves. And that is a major mistake. No, y'all might not like hearing that, but it's a major mistake. I'm going to tell you why. A lot of our ladies, again, a lot of our households are led by the women. Quick side note. Y'all might disagree with me on this, but it's a pet peeve of mine when I hear people say we need more black men to lead and women are not adequate to lead. Sure, we absolutely need everybody doing their part. But let me tell y'all something. Since before Black people came to the American shores, women have always been leaders in their communities, right? So it's not that men are better leaders, but who took care of the village and the towns when the men were off the war, out hunting? I know y'all ain't here for all this, but it just triggered me, and I figured I'd share it. But I really feel like we still live in a very much misogynistic society, and we need to be very mindful about the messages that we allow to stay in us. And that, again, it's not to say that men are any less than women, or women are any less than men, or greater than men, or vice versa. But it's really to say, again, that we all have our own individual God-given gifts, abilities, and talents. Hey, maybe some women can lead better than a man, right? Maybe he might draw better. Maybe he might nurture the children better. Now, I'm being a bit cute now, right? We know that typically doesn't happen. But my point is, and I people will tell you, I say this all the time, I really feel that society basically tells women, especially Black women, that they're trash. They can't lead. They can't do anything, even though they've always led. Right? Do the history. Again, this is about me reading. I don't just read financial stuff. I'm a student of history. Right? And when you start saying, hey, 1 + 1 = 2 in this context, what you talking about don't make sense. So no, it's not the place of a little lady to just sit by and be in the kitchen and be barefoot and pregnant all her life. Now, if that's her goal, if that's her vision, if that's her God-given ability, I'm cool with that. But who's to say she can't be a construction worker, an architect, an engineer, any of those things, right? A financial person. Anybody ever heard of Melody Hobson? She's super dope, right? Anybody pay attention to and I'm thinking of you now, Gia, to Apple, excuse me, not Apple, to Netflix, when they just hired their new chief marketing officer. And I always say her name wrong. So her name is Bosman, I believe, but she's dope, and she's worked a lot of places and clearly demonstrated that she delivers value on a very high level. Y'all look her up. Look up the CMO of Netflix. She just got appointed not so long ago. She was at Apple before. There's some other things before. She was at Uber. She was also at Uber before as well. But, I'm sorry again. I went off on a rant. That just, right. St. John, Bosama St. John. Thank you, Kaizen Investor. Right. So again, right, we don't gotta believe what society tells us. We don't have to accept what society deems is okay for us. I could go deeper, y'all, but I'm not. Y'all ain't here for the deep thoughts of Kamari, the personal thoughts of Kamari. Y'all want to hear about this money. So we're gonna stick to the buddy. All right, let me get to a couple more questions. I'm heading on 2 hours. I guess I'm making up for missing y'all last week. I'm not sure about next week either. But all right. All right, so we got Melon Altons. We got nobody cares about those who want to struggle and never change. Some are lazy. Well, I care, right? Because I care about all of us. In theory. I know I can't touch everybody individually, actually. Some are lazy. I know this is a public forum, but if you're doing the same thing that creates the same results, what do you call it? I get it. I will say this, though. Mental health is real. Mental health is real. Mental health is real, especially in our community. I don't think we respect it enough. We don't talk about it enough. People won't read a free book. If you can't read, they have audiobooks. What is the root cause? I agree with that. All right, so Miss Edith says, how do you change your mindset? Reading helps, but not just reading trash. I think some of us read a lot of trash. And by the way, it's okay for reading what I'm calling trash. And what I'm calling trash is some of the romance novels, right? We love those. However, there's a caveat. I don't think there's really anything wrong with reading romance novels. I read sci-fi sometimes when I don't want to read about business, right? I want to let my imagination just wander. But I'm calling it trash because many of us say we want to change our position in our lot in life. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to change your position in lot in life if you're only reading these romance novels. However, again, there's a caveat. I like to be objective. I can hold 2 thoughts at the same time. If you want to be a romance novelist, that's a great investment of time. That's a great investment of time. So, again, everything, it's about balance, y'all. It's about balance. And balance is always forever fleeting because it's truly hard to master and get control of. It's always an act you got to do. But if you're not being conscious about it, it becomes really hard at times. So, Miss Edith, I would say, reading different things, read something different than what you normally read. If you do read, if you don't read, just start reading. I think exercise is really big on mindset. Tony Robbins talks about movement and how movement can change mood and how many of us are depressed. But when you start moving, hormones get released. And again, I probably could talk to the Kaizen investor a bit more about this because, I'm a little out my depth now. I've done some reading, but that's not my bailiwick. That's not my wheelhouse. But, he talks about movement and how, when you move and you do certain things, the serotonin and the other chemical hormones that are in your body are there. All right, IG, I'm about to die again. 58 seconds. I'm going to end it and come right back. Come right back with me, and I'm going to answer some more questions for about 15 minutes. So, I think that's one of the ways that you change your mindset. Do something different. Challenge tradition. Challenge what's always been done. Try something different. And that doesn't necessarily mean disrespect tradition either. I think tradition is very important. But you have to, and when I say challenge tradition, though, things change. And so some traditions that were held near and dear to many of our hearts are no longer necessary anymore. But if you've never thought about it and you just do it just to do it, what's the point? What is the point? You just doing it because that's what's always been done, not necessarily because that's what's practical. There we go. All right. So I know we got a couple more questions. Like I said, I'm going to try to stay on for about another 15 minutes. I am famished. I need some food. I need some victuals. Thank you all for rocking with me. If you're just now joining or watching the Financial Rebel Show, today is our Wealthy Wednesday segment. I took a week off last week. I had some stuff to do, some top secret project stuff. But today I'm back. I'm not sure if I'll be back next week, but I'm going to try to be back. I don't like missing these. I like doing these because it's a great habit. Here, I'll tell you another quick story, right? We're talking about mindset. I started podcasting in 2011 or 2012, and I stopped. What would have happened if I never stopped? I don't know. You don't know, but I don't know. And I don't like that. Right? How many more people could I have been able to help if I didn't stop? How much further along in my journey would I be had I not stopped? Now, I think everything also happens for a reason to a large degree. But again, we give up and we quit things sometimes and we shouldn't. So let's see. More questions. So I'm sorry, let me complete that thought. I was saying I don't like missing these days because then I feel like all right, cool. Sorry about that, y'all. I hit the wrong button. But I was saying, I don't want to break my habit. I don't want to break my streak because then it reminds me of when I quit or when I stopped podcasting back in 2012, 2011, way before everybody else was. So what kind of a lead would I have on the industry? But it happens, right? It happens. All right. So C. Richard says, that's crazy. Coursera is also teaching people to be contract tracers. Oh, wow. And I'm guessing you're talking about for COVID, right? Did I miss some other things? I think I might have missed some other things. So Charmaine White came to the rescue too. Oh, no, you didn't. So I thought you were, Charmaine, I thought you were telling me about UGMAs because I couldn't remember UGMA and UTMA. I just talked about it. I don't know if you got a chance to see what I said about that. Chime in and let me know. Systemic grouping type late. I missed something. Okay. All right. Yeah, I did miss some comments, y'all. I'm sorry. All right. Can a grandparent get a custodial account for a child? Yes. Yes, they can. If a child started acting up nearing adulthood but has a custodial account in their name, can the parent take that custodial account out of their name or transfer the funds out of their account? I want to say yes, but don't quote me on that. Double check me on that. CC Mills, how are you doing? Thank you for joining. Miss Mitney, thanks for coming back. Queen on her throne. Hello. And Kelly's back with me. The founder of Kelly's Closet, the largest plus size lingerie company in the country. I got some cool friends, y'all. By the way, me and Kelly I did an interview with Kelly a couple months ago on my my YouTube channel. I think Kelly's approach to business is pretty square on. Check out her page and check out the interview. I'll share it on my Facebook page and on Instagram at some point. Hopefully sooner than later. No what? What are you saying no to, Kelly? You don't get a voice here. I'm in charge. See, the other thing about me being such a big lover of black women, and when I mean like I respect black women, is they get to talk to me all kind of crazy, y'all. And I never go off. So Kelly be talking to me all kind of crazy, y'all. This ain't your show, Kelly. It's my show. I'm joking. So Miss Edith says people are in debt, so we gotta figure out how to attain an education and not accrue debt. People dying with student loan debt. Something got to change. People have degrees and no job. I kind of disagree. I'm gonna tell you why. So I'll say this, right? I went back to college late. I think one of the problems with college is that most of us are ushered in or shoveled into college when we're 16, 17, 18 years old. We are still not mature enough to understand the opportunity and the obligation that we've come on, right? And we've just, again, followed that tradition, right? But I'll say this, though, like everything we learn is cumulative. So many of us don't realize just how valuable some of the learning is. Steve Jobs went to college for calligraphy. I understand when he went to college for calligraphy, tuition cost was much, much lower. I get that. That is not missed upon me. But I'm talking to black folks right now. I need y'all to understand something. When we talk about debt, when we talk about student loan debt, it's an investment. To me, and everybody disagrees with me on this, college should not be the stomping ground to go find a job. Again, in my opinion, finance rebel, Kamari Ellis, college should not be the stomping ground to go find a good job. College should be the stomping ground to refine your mind, increase your thinking capacity. Isn't it amazing why most Democrats are college educated and most Republicans are not? Most Republicans don't have even high school education when you really look at the stats. And yet we have this idiot in the White House. And by the way, please know, don't come for me with politics. I can do that too. I've been treasurer for many elected people. I don't talk about things that I don't know, or at least studied, or at least have some perspective on. Well, so all right, so Jack the First Three says I'm in college and it's trash. All right, I bet it's trash because you're not really doing the thing that you really want to do. To be totally honest with you, you're doing a thing that, and I know I just said this, and I'm not backtracking or contradicting myself. You're probably doing a thing that's practical, right? You're not really tapping into your God-given gifts, abilities, and talents. And listen, we all do that at some point, right? So I ain't coming for you. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying that that's what happens. But children in other communities, they get to dream. They get to explore. They get to try to figure things out. And again, I know I'm speaking in major generalities right now. I get that. Everybody's situation is different. But when you look at all the positions that move society, architects, engineers, lawyers, doctors, they all require what, people? They all require what? They require college. If we look at the things that Black folks get abused from, the systems, architecture, right? Neighborhoods, read redlining. I mean, think about redlining. Think about, everybody read The Color of Law. Please read The Color of Law. Please, please, please read The Color of Law. When you think about medicine, right? How many of us, how many Black women are getting tortured at medical facilities? It's been documented. There are racial healthcare disparities abound, right? We need our people in place to protect us, period, point blank. And you can't do that if we just sit on the sidelines and we're not going to college. Again, college is not the end all be all. But again, college is the gateway for a lot of things that we need as a Black community in order to protect ourselves. Sadly, again, when we had these conversations, we are having, it's a black and white dynamic when we totally ignore all the color that's in between, all the color that changes situations in between. And so that's all I'm saying, folks. Like, really think about it. Really think about it. So, Jack, the first three, I think education as a whole, the model doesn't work, or the model is outdated. There's no argument against that. There's no argument against that. I personally think boys and girls should be educated differently. There's a reason why Black women outpace Black men in college. Black boys tend to have bad experiences in school, K through 12. Why? Because the system is, boys are not meant to sit still for 6 hours a day. Boys ain't, they're not dumb. They're just different. They're not meant to sit still for 6 hours a day. And so then what happens is they tend to have bad educational experiences, and then they don't want to further go any forward a lot of times. But I know y'all don't want to hear that. I know. Education needs to change, but guess what? We got to change in order so we can change education. And if we are not in the best places to learn, how do we begin to change the system? You know, I'll say this. Educational rigor or intellectual rigor comes from challenge. Where are the best places to challenge your intellect? On the corner, in your house, in a classroom somewhere. And by the way, it ain't perfect. I'm not talking about things being perfect, y'all. Yeah, I agree. A lot of things are wrong used. Excuse me. Again, you get no disagree. A lot of the models they use are outdated, and they use as me. I'm tongue tied tonight, y'all. So Jack makes a great point, right? A lot of models they use are outdated, and they use the wrong units to measure intelligence. I totally agree. But listen, here's the thing. I fervently believe this. You can't make change from the outside. It does not work. The Roman Empire did not fall from the outside. They fell from the inside. All of those various families. So we got to know the system in order to fix the system or destroy the system, right? Whichever way you want. I told y'all I'm hungry. I was hungry. I need some vittles. How do we determine who a financial expert is and who's just a social media guru? Hot diggity dog. I actually have a video that I'm supposed to do about how to avoid the next Ponzi scheme and the next financial frauds. I'll talk about some of it now. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull it up quickly. Let me see if I can pull it up quickly. We going into overtime now, y'all. Because yes, with all the shenanigans that are going on, people losing their money, people getting ripped off. And listen, a lot of these scenarios, we had to take accountability for ourselves. A lot of these folks is doing protests and stuff. I'm not saying no names, but a lot of this stuff would not happen had they invested into higher financial education? No, I feel you, Jack. I feel you. I feel you. We definitely can get into that. Not tonight, but I mean, I feel you. But clearly, you must agree with me to a certain degree because you're there. So I'm going to share just some notes real quick that I have. Because I've been really thinking, I think about this a lot, and I get labeled as a hater sometimes, but it really breaks my heart when I see people get ripped off. Again, our folks, right? Because you know how they say when America gets a cold, black people get a flu. Well, listen, when one of our dollars comes out of our community, it's like 10 of them. It's like $10 worth. Because when they have those bad experiences with our folks and these investment lanes or so-called investment lanes, it reverberates, right? We don't have time to lose. People say, you know, they have a bad experience at a black-owned business, and they say, that's why I don't support black-owned business. By the way, I think that's asinine without any thought, but I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. Right. And we're not thinking about all the pieces of the puzzle, all the ingredients of the cake. So here's a video, 13 points. All right, 13 ways to avoid Ponzi schemes and financial fraud. Y'all getting an exclusive right now. 1, qualifications. What experience does a person have? All right, what experience does a person have to deliver this? Did they just read a book? Right? Did they actually do it? Are they actually doing the work? Do they have testimonials? Do they have somebody to vouch for them? And that doesn't mean that it's foolproof. It's not. It's not foolproof, right? But again, like I said, we got folks marching on folks. We got folks hitting the DA up over these so-called turnkey business systems. And again, how are these people qualified? T.I. has a line, right? I've been dropping rap lines on y'all. Oh, wow. Speaking of rap lines, my man Kevin Gee's on. Kevin Gee is like my hip hop nemesis. But that's a good friend of mine. So we always talk hip hop. But T.I. says, y'all need to start checking some of these folks' resumes. And I think that's one of the realest things ever. It's one of the realest things ever. Check folks' resumes. How are they qualified? If y'all get to listen to some of my interviews on my podcast, which y'all should be checking out, please go check out my podcast, right? The Finance Rebel Show. A lot of the questions I ask people is, why are you qualified to even talk about this? Right? Because again, we go for the glitz and glamour a lot of time, and we all know all that glitters ain't gold. All right. So number 1, qualifications. All right. Number 2, what level of expertise do they have? Right. So you could have some qualifications, but you could be a year into the job. 1 year. You don't know nothing. You're still a baby. And again, this is not putting down anybody's abilities, gifts, or talents, but there's just certain things you can only learn by doing. You got to do it. Let me ask y'all this, because I've been told I'm hating, right? You know, why can't the people get on? Why can't the people do things? You know, give them a chance. All right. Tell that to your brain surgeon. Give your brain surgeon a chance. Do you want to be the first in line for brain surgery? No. That's why they had medical school, right? So they can operate on cadavers, dead folks that have been donated, right? You don't want to be the guinea pig. You don't want to be the first one in line. You don't want to be the experimental frog in biology class. What experience do they have, right? Number 3, have they done it before? This so-called thing of theirs, or at least something related, something close. All right. I think that's self-explanatory. Have they done it before? Right. Going into number 4, what's their track record? Now, listen, folks, yes, all of these things will require some work, but I believe that you work hard for your money. And so anybody you are looking to invest your money in should be willing to do the work. Actually, should be willing to pre-think some of these things to do the work. Now, listen, what's my man The white Jewish guy that scammed everybody. Madoff. Madoff really made off. But Madoff made off because he leveraged relationships. People they weren't really checking his resume. And when they were checking his resume, there were so many other clouds and layers of things that they never got through to it. And it was just always this whisper of this guy is doing this great thing, and these secret locked doors on the it's either the 9th or the 13th floor. I forget what floor was restricted to everyone else, right? But what's their track record? Verify that track record. Okay, what is the investment? How much do you need to put in? Can you truly afford to put money in? Big Man Tech asked me earlier, what's my beef with cryptocurrency? Again, I don't have a beef with cryptocurrency. But again, in the height of crypto, I was asked the question, and it's floating around somewhere on one of these socials. Should they invest in crypto, in Bitcoin? My first question, how much money do you have saved? Do you have a month's worth of salary saved? No. If you got out of work, if you missed work for a month and you couldn't do it, you couldn't get to work, you couldn't get paid, would that affect you? Yes. How much are you looking to invest in Bitcoin? $500. Again, could you go without that $500 if you couldn't work for a month? No. So again, I'm not hating on crypto or Bitcoin. I'm hating on us or the people that are asking these questions or looking to get these get rich quick schemes, right? I say often that everybody is looking for a lottery ticket. And what's the probability of lottery tickets paying out? Ain't high, folks, right? You got a better chance of getting struck by lightning. Just being honest. Okay, so what is the investment, right? How much do you have to put in? What are they actually doing? Are they buying real estate? Are they doing stock? Are they doing VC, venture capital? Are they investing into businesses? Like, what are they doing? Do you understand what they're doing? Listen, if you do not understand what they are doing, you do not need to be doing it at all. Just walk on by. Listen, folks, it's okay to walk on by an investment. It's okay to miss out. FOMO, y'all about to have me cussing some more, but FOMO got us effed up, right? We try fear of missing out. We want to be included, which again is part of the herd mentality, is part of being sheeple. It doesn't matter if you get it and you lose your money because you didn't understand it. Would it have been better just to avoid it altogether? So just avoid things you don't understand. It's okay. And listen, I'm not saying not to try to do due diligence to understand it. But Warren Buffett, many times people have clowned Warren Buffett over the years. They clowned him in the dot-com bubble in the late 90s, early 2000, 2001, because he didn't invest in tech companies. And tech companies were all the rage. Most of those tech companies went out of business at that point in time. And people were saying Warren Buffett was washed up. That was 20 years ago, right? Today, Warren Buffett is still in the top 5 of wealthiest people around the globe because he invests in what he understands, period. If you only understand doing the 2-step on the floor, don't try to break dance. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt. And it ain't going to feel good. You might wind up in a hospital somewhere. All right, so next question. How do you get paid, right? How do you get your money back? How do you get paid? Are they paying you over time? Are they paying you in a lump sum? How do you get paid? Do you understand that? Is that clear? These people that was marching, these people that are filing lawsuits with the district attorney against certain folks, I don't think they understood any of those things. And I got more to come. But just those things, if they would have answered just those first 6 things, I think they would have been better off in the long run. All right. But you know what I'm talking about, folks be like, Kamari, that's boring. That ain't sexy. That ain't sexy enough. I need to get to the bag, and I need to get to the bag fast. Quick, fast, and dirty. Sadly, a lot of times when you rush, you make mistakes and you fall and you bust your face. But, you know, nobody cares about that. At 4 Strings, how you doing? Thanks for joining us tonight. So a lot of folks are in so much in a rush, and these scammers, these Ponzi scheme folks, can see that. They know the mark. They know that you are a mark a lot of times. All right. Okay. When do you get paid? Can you afford to lose it? Again, can you afford to lose it? If your money goes up in air, if the guy skates off with your bread, can you afford to lose it? Will you be able to pay your bills that next day or that next month? Can you put food on the table? Can you buy some clothes for your children? Can you buy diapers for them? Can you proceed with your regular lifestyle? If you cannot, you need to just say no. Do not pass go. Do not do anything. Just stop. Again. All right. Where will the money be? All right. So where will the money be? So in my world, in the investment world, when I manage money for a client, I have to have what's a custodian. Now, there's different ways of investing, right? But typically, when I was a registered investment advisor, I had to have a custodian. What does a custodian do? The custodian holds the bread, y'all. Custodian holds the money. Why does a custodian hold the money? Because the custodian knows that I shouldn't be holding the money. Why? Why should I not be holding the money? I'm not talking about the actual me, y'all. I'm speaking figuratively. But why shouldn't I hold the money? I shouldn't hold the money because I might get tempted to go on a shopping spree, to floss on cats, to show folks I got the bag, to show folks I got the money. That's what Madoff did. He had the money in his possession and his power to do what he wants. When the money is in with the custodian, right, I can only do certain things. I can buy stocks. I can buy bonds. I can buy different investments. I can issue a payment to the person that is the account holder of record, right? I can't issue a check to myself. And yes, there are all kinds of schemes to get around it. Yes, they are. However, the question is, how harder do we make it? All right, so where will the money be? You giving somebody to go into business, the money, I don't know, they're going to sell. All right, let's use Kelly. I'm going to use Kelly, right? Shout out to Kelly, Kelly's Closet. Kelly's going to buy these seductive fabric to make lingerie. Where's the money? Kelly going to put the money? Is she put it in her business account or she put it in her personal account? Do we know? Can we tell the difference? Can we tell the difference if the person is commingling money in their personal and their business account? Right? That's why you need to know where the money is going, folks. You need to understand these things. And guess what? Y'all need not be scared to ask these questions at all. At all. Because listen, I'll say this, right? Just give you all a quick story. I told you I'm an only child. And so I have some younger female cousins that are very near and dear to me, near and dear to my heart. And so anytime they would have a younger guy friend come over when they were in their teenage years, they would get interrogated. And I wouldn't give two shits how anybody felt. My aunt or their mama or anybody else, I'm asking this young man a question. And my whole thing was to some of my cousins that got mad at me for asking that question. I said, listen, if they can't stand up to the scrutiny of my questions, they do not belong to be in the company of your presence. Period. Period. So when you have these people out here that can't answer questions or duck your questions, they don't deserve your money. They don't. Period, y'all. Like, it's really that simple. And then you got the folks that just want to be, well, let me get to the rest of my list. Because, again, I told y'all 15 minutes and I've been here for a while, almost half an hour. So I'm going to be going for real this time, right? But the last one, where will the money be? All right. Is it too good to be true? Is it too good to be true? All right. Again, we're talking about ways that people can avoid getting scammed, right? Avoiding the next Ponzi scam. Somebody asked me that question, and I'm just giving y'all a preview, an exclusive on some content I'm going to put out. Should I put this out? Do y'all think this is even, do people want to see this? Would people want to get this type of content? Should I put it out? Do you think it's valuable? Y'all let me know. All right. So we're on number 10. Is it too good to be true? Listen, everything that glitters isn't gold. All right. If somebody is saying they can convert gold out of thin air or out of water, they can do some kind of alchemy. You've never seen it before, never heard it before, can't find any research on it before, can't find any track record on it before, can't find nothing, no documentation, nothing. More than likely, it's probably too good to be true. More than likely. All right. All right. So Jack the First says yes, because we're getting scammed left and right. Yeah, I feel the same way. And it's sad, right? Because again, our community, the Black community, has got genius. And we consistently get raped. with no Vaseline. Excuse my depiction. All right, number 11. Again, oh, you know what I said? I said, do you understand the investment? Right. I said, what is the investment? And I kind of commingled the two, but they're two separate questions, right? Do you understand that question? Do you understand the investment? Excuse me. Do you understand the investment? Do you? When you get into these financial entanglements, nobody understands diddly. And you know what? I'll be honest, right? Again, I'm not going to say some names, but there were certain situations where people were saying the person had been in business for 2 years and they should have given the money back. I'm not defending the person. I'm defending the logic of the business, or I'm defending the logic, the line of logic that they're using with the business. All business ventures don't run smoothly, and that's okay. The question is how transparently and how quickly do you tell that, right? So just because somebody doesn't pay you back in 2 years or whatever the initial time period was, doesn't mean they're bad, right? And listen, I want to be very, very clear. I'm sure y'all probably know what some of the stuff I'm alluding to. I can't say if they're good or bad people. Some I know, some I don't. But I can't say if they're good or bad people. They are all in bad predicaments, though, right? And financial education on the part of the investor, on the consumer, would alleviate a lot of this. I'm not going to put it on the promoter, right? I'm not going to put it on the investor, even though it is on them, right? Again, obviously it's on them, but I'm going to put it on us because we decided to put our money in place. We started to give the money. We had to protect our money. I'm a big boxing fan. Well, I used to be a big boxing fan. I think boxing's pretty trash nowadays, right? But everybody knows the adage: protect yourself at all times. When we talking about your money, your loot, your cheddar, you need to be protecting your money at all times, right? So you have to be accountable for that. I don't care if it's me. I don't care if it's Black Jesus himself. You have to protect your money at all times. There's no ifs, no ands, no buts about it. You have to protect your money. All right. Number 12, avoid all lifestyle promoters. So I was telling somebody earlier today, I'll probably never have like a million quote unquote connections, because I hate the word followers, but a million followers on social. Why? Because I'm not doing the money phone. I'm not walking around in stupid materialistic things that are the bane of the Black community, right? That lead to various destructive activities in the Black community. No, I don't need to floss a car. No, I don't need to floss a big mansion. None of it means anything. What means something is, how are we helping our community? How are we helping our schools? How are we helping our children get through schools, like Jack was talking about, so that we can come up with our own program and redesign the model? How much money will that take? Every year in my city, in Philadelphia, they complain about the school district being broke. It still amazes me, and again, I'm not going to go on a rant, but it amazes me that we even think that them folks are supposed to educate our kids. Take out the tax dollars. I understand the tax dollars, but a lot of us aren't happy with it. But again, avoid all lifestyle promoters. Focus in on the people that are doing the work. Focus in on people that are about the work, right? They get up in the morning, they go on to do the work. They're the first one in and then the last one's out. First one's in and the last one's out. They tend not to find themselves in these continuous financial entanglements. I don't like the saying, where there's smoke, there's fire, even though it has validity. But I'm gonna tell you why, right? And I'm just sharing my feelings. The reason why I don't like that feeling is, or that saying, is because a lot of times historically Black folks have gotten into some hairy predicaments that they didn't necessarily do. They were falsely accused. By the way, I should probably put on here, never forget your culture and your history, but that won't apply to everybody. But I'll come back to that. But I feel like we've been falsely accused of a lot of things. Innocent people have been falsely accused, and it's led to a lot of destruction. But again, a lot of times these false accusations will come because people don't have enough education or any education at all. And so, I feel very strongly about this, is that when you go into a transaction with somebody, you should check them out. You should check their resumes, like T.I. says. You should understand what their track record is. These people should be able to explain to you clearly, succinctly, without a bunch of fanfare, about what their track record is. Period. That's all. That's all. But for some reason, we keep doing the thing over and over again. And the last one is, did you get any advice on the deal? Did you go see a professional and say, hey, I am thinking about doing XYZ? And did you pay the professional to render you a professional opinion on X, Y, and Z investment, deal, opportunity, whatever you want to call it? That's what I got, y'all. So y'all tell me if I should put that out. Jack said I should, because we keep getting ripped off. Y'all let me know, should I put it out? So doing my, I think those 13 things will help you weed out the wheat from the chaff. Will help you weed out a lot of charlatans and jokers, and people who only care about enriching themselves. Listen, in business, everything is supposedly mutually beneficial, right? Everything. When we get out of mutual beneficiality, we are now dealing with entitlement syndrome. And a lot of us suffer from entitlement syndrome. That's part of the laziness, but I'm not going to go back into that. But however, it should be mutually beneficial. You take your car to the auto mechanic shop. The auto mechanic fixes your car. You pay him XYZ dollars. You drive in a safe vehicle. That's mutually beneficial. It's a value exchange. However, if you go to the mechanics tells you they paid for it, didn't change the part, didn't do anything, that's robbery. That's wrong. Right? However, we have to protect ourselves from the people that do that. Now, I don't say names because of various reasons, because I do believe that there's a lot of, again, misinformation. There's a lot of people accusing people of things that they have absolutely no idea, no clue about. I don't want to see any more black on black crime in terms of arguments. It's sad. It helps to destroy our community, and we don't need no more destruction of that. We need upliftment. All right, so Kaizen says, honestly, as an immigrant kid, I see the world from two lenses. On one side, my family does view, black folks and African Americans as lazy. But on the other hand, I do see the systemic grooming that promotes laziness. So Kaizen, I would love for you to read The Color of Law. I get, and I'm not sure where you are originally from, but I would love for you to read The Color of Law. But I've never gotten the air from you that you don't love all black folks, right? It's been my experience that most people throughout the diaspora love all black folks, and there are some that don't. There are some that don't, and I get it. And it's a very nuanced thing. All right, so let's try to catch up real quick. Kaiser says she loves Melody Hobson. Yes, I love Melody Hobson. This is the young lady I want all of y'all to look up. Bozeman St. John. She is the new CMO at Netflix. Check her out, y'all. Free to serve God. How are you, sir? All right. Miss Edith says, that's crazy. Yeah, I think I read that already. For everybody, again, that's just watching, I'm going live on Instagram and on Facebook and on YouTube. Sadly, I can't get all my IG people over onto Instagram. People read trash, but you have probably read 10 books that empowered you. I've read more than 10, but yes. But you know what? My parents also had a what I would call a library in their back room. And it's just books and shelves. So I'm very much what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm enthralled by books to a certain degree. I'm excited by books. I think books are very much a cheat code. I think reading is very much a cheat code, right? You get to go through all of the experience of this person that did XYZ research over XYZ years, and they put it all into a book that normally you can read within a couple of days. Exposure. Yeah, I would agree with that because you need to know that there's better. So the Kaizen investor says the first steps to mindset change is exposure. One of, yeah, I would agree. I would agree. Um, yes, that is her thing. All right. All right. So nobody, so only one of y'all told me, should I put that piece out? Should I go back? Should I do, was that 13 steps to avoid your next Ponzi scheme? Y'all let me know in the chat. Should I change anything? Should I add anything? You let me know. Tone P87, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. But as we begin to log off and say our goodbyes, it's been great being here. I missed y'all last week. Again, remember, I think I'm gonna be here next week. I'm gonna make provisions to be here next week. So I'll be here next week. Like I said, I don't like missing these because again, it breaks my streak. It breaks the habit. Consistency and persistency are super duper important. And so thank you all wow, most of y'all rocked out with me all night. 2.5 hours. Appreciate y'all. I'm honored. All right, so listen. Oh, you know what? This is one I wanted to talk about. Yes, Tyler Perry is a billionaire. Shout out to Tyler Perry. I love Tyler Perry. A lot of people have hated over Tyler Perry in the years. Black men wearing a dress, yada, yada, yada. And there's a lot of other adages floating around, black folks saying people shouldn't be billionaires because billionaires tend to hurt people. I would like to know who Tyler Perry has hurt because this man, damn near singularly on his back, has employed just about all of Black Hollywood. That's impressive. It's very impressive, right? Very impressive. So before we begin to critique people, criticize people, and judge people, ask yourself, what am I doing? What positive contribution have I contributed for myself, right? Start with yourself, to your family, and to your community before we start talking about other folks, all right? There's a whole history of it now of women or men dressing like women in film, even before blacks were in film. White folks used to do it all the time. Now, do you want to make the argument that they do it more to try to feminize men? I don't think so. But maybe that's somebody's hidden agenda. But if you notice, though, the only person that's in dress is Tyler Perry himself. And if you follow his career, the man wants to be a thespian, not an actor. There's a difference. Thespian, to me, is like the top level. So he wants to be great. What's wrong with that? He wants to act. Acting is make-believe, right? So, again, I'm not going to go too far on that, but I do want to give salutes to Tyler Perry. The man went from being broke to doing it from writing, y'all, from writing plays. He got some help along the way. He definitely stands on the shoulder of other black billionaires, specifically Oprah, another person a lot of us talk a lot of trash about, which I don't understand. But, I could air all this out tonight, but what would be the point of it all, right? So yes, I think I think we have to start challenging. Jay-Z has a line, one of my favorite lyrics of all time, and it's on the song FUTW. I won't say what FUTW means, right? But the lyric is question religion, question it all. Ask those questions until those questions are solved. Again, question religion, question it all. Question those answers until the answers are solved. Right? That's paramount, folks. All right. So let's start doing more questioning and less judging. Let's start doing more research and less judging. Again, thank you all. Appreciate you all. I'll be back next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Next Wednesday, 8 p.m. The group we discussed is having virtual concert tomorrow. Toby's dope. So again, appreciate you all. Same Rebel time, same Rebel channel. I'll be back next week at 8 p.m. Thank you all again and have a wonderful, blessed night. Lady folks.